don't be a ghost face killer while eating your popcorn in the theater, because this may be your last summer with Filmshake. I'm Jordan.
And this is Nick.
And this is episode 110 of the 90s Movies Podcast. Today we are covering 1996's Scream.
That's right. And just like this is Scream 1, Jordan, I don't know why, but I'm recording on only one channel. I forgot to put myself in stereo. Only our most astute listeners will pick up on the fact that Jordan is always in mono and I'm always in stereo. And now we're both going to be in mono, Jordan.
Does it really make a difference? I don't think it does. Not for podcasting.
Probably not. I'm bouncing all around my mic just to make myself more dynamic than you. It's been my secret this whole time, and now I can't do it.
Always trying to be more dynamic than me. Always beating me at the trivia battle. Damn you, Nick. But you at least picked an enjoyable, evergreen movie for our main feature here. We'll get into Scream. But first we've got to talk about the Fallen Warrior movie, the Punishment movie. I don't know, what are we still calling this a punishment? I feel like we've gotten here and there, it's a punishment. Sometimes it's just, hey, you lost the trivia battle, you had to watch this. But we usually both watch it, so it's just the movie that we pair with the main movie, basically.
Yeah, I cheated, because this isn't a punishment.
No.
You have to hate joy to make a punishment out of don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Every now and then comes a film about America, depicting life so disturbing, it makes us care, it makes us think, and it makes a ton of money. Miramax Films presents a motion picture.
What up, homie?
That brings you closer to the street than ever before.
Yo, I'm finna tell you how it is in the hood. See, cause in the hood, everybody's a target. You gotta eat.
It's about two brothers trying to make a statement.
Quick fashion question. Should I wear this Tech 9, these high tops, or this Uzi with these low tops?
They're discovering that family values,
those are my kids,
are still cherished.
What do you say when you meet a nice man? Are you my daddy?
That justice isn't always poetic.
Now that's a lady.
And higher learning.
You know, Malik is the first one in the hood to go to college. Finally, someone from the hood is gonna make it.
Can be a total waste of time.
You got a problem?
From the creators of In Living Color, Marlon Wayans.
What you say about my mama?
Sean Wayans.
Hey, Grandma.
Hold on. Give me your best shot.
Come on, Grandma. I don't want to be nothing like that.
Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Well, it's funny because I don't think I ever put together that these movies, Scream and Don't Be a Menace, both came out in 96. Like, they were kind of far apart in my mind. But I have two specific stories growing up watching these films that come to mind, or just moments, where I remember where I was when I saw both of these films. But yeah, both 96 films.
That's right, Jordan. And unfortunately, I didn't see either one of these in the theater, just right after I could watch them at home.
Yeah, same.
I don't really have a great story for Don't Be a Menace outside of only one kid in my class saw it, and he told us about it. And we're all like, bullshit, that didn't happen in a movie. You liar. You lied. Can you tell us again?
What was it that y'all didn't think actually happened in a movie?
Every single thing he said, Jordan. You have to take the context of, once you get into the movie, it's so ridiculous. It's like, okay,
right. Anything
that happens, I'll believe. But if you are not in the movie and you're just in 9th grade and someone tells you all this stuff, it's like, wait, what? No way. You're a liar. Yeah. You're a dirty. And then he did, like, the only things he embellished where he made the sex scenes seem sexy, or maybe that was just our horny little minds,
Right.
But
right.
They're not in any way. You'd have to be really messed up.
Yeah, they're all goofy and ridiculous, as everything is in the movie. My specific memory, I didn't have anybody telling me about it in class and me not believing them, but we had some neighborhood friends, Scott and Michael, that lived in the neighborhood where me and my brother grew up in Terra here in Baton Rouge. And After we became like best friends with them, they moved away to Hammond, which is, like an hour away. So every now and then we would get to go on trips to like go spend the night at their house. Like my mom was good friends with their mom. Like she still goes and hangs out with their mom in Hammond. Every now and then we would go and we'd take trips over there and we'd go see Scott and Michael. And Scott was my older brother's friend. He was the older guy. And then Michael was the younger of the two brothers. So he was, we were like a pair. So it worked out that way. But one time we went over there, and I'm sure it was like the summer or something, where we go like spend the night or a couple of days hanging out with them. We go over, and I have two specific memories of their house that summer. There was some like Monty Python game they had on their computer where you could like fight the Black Knight and cut off his legs or whatever. Or maybe I'm totally like misremembering this, but there was some Monty Python like thing that they had, like a computer game. And the other thing was when all the parents were like outside drinking or barbecuing or something, Scott was like, "Hey, y'all come to my room. We're going to watch Don't Be a Menace." And this was like, summer of 96 probably, or 97. So I was like 10 or 11 years old. They're putting on this movie. I'm just imagining Gideon we talked about the last episode, like hearing all our raunchy shit. They're just like, no, Gideon, turn away. But like, I'm 10 or 11 and they're putting on this movie. And it's just like probably the raciest, foulest thing, that I could have ever witnessed up until that point. And I just remember all of us sitting on the bed watching the TV, they put on the VHS or whatever, and just like all of us dying, laughing, and then like everybody quoting the movie for the next few days, like brace yourself and all this stuff, So that was a fun memory of this movie for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I just remember the first time I watched it. Thankfully, I was in my bedroom by myself. My parents weren't around or anyone, and I just kept saying that son of a bitch was telling the truth. That really happened. Like for every scene, I was like, he didn't embellish that at all.
That's awesome.
Everything happened exactly like he said. It was great going back to this though, and finding it still hilarious. At least in my case, right. I was dying watching this. I thought I was going to have a heart attack from laughing. I think as far as 90s comedies go, as far as just pure laughs, this is easily in the top 10.
Yeah. No, and it was cool going back and watching it now because obviously at 10 or 11, I had never seen Boys in the Hood. I had never seen Menace to Society or Juice or anything else that this is ripping on. That was fun to like, I'm kind of in on, even though like you could appreciate this movie just being like on an absurdist level of like how ridiculous it is. Like you can appreciate this having never seen any of those movies, which I think is pretty brilliant for a spoof. This whole movie is just spoofing these growing up in the hood films that they all came out like 91, 92, like 1990, like just a plethora of the growing up in the hood films. And then this movie comes out in 96, which is weird to me in a way that like, I don't know, doesn't it seem like spoofs are usually kind of right on the tail of the other films? But it seems like with the Wayans brothers, they do kind of take their time. Same thing, we're going to talk about Scream and then Scary Movie. Scream comes out in 96. Scary Movie comes out in 2000. So it's like, I don't know, maybe there's something to be said for the time that they're taking with those two spoofs that make these more like legendary spoofs or whatever. But it is kind of cool that you can enjoy this knowing nothing about what it's spoofing, but also like if you watch those other films and come back to this and are like, oh, I see all the jokes now. Like I get all the stuff that they're ripping on.
Yeah, you're right. Because I've seen most of these movies and I saw a lot of them around the time that I saw this. So I got some of the references, but definitely not all of them. And I still haven't seen South Central.
Yeah, same.
Never watched it.
That's the only one I haven't seen.
But the movie's funny if you have not seen any of those movies or if you have seen them. And you've got the Wayans brothers here. When we think of Wayans brothers, there's so many of them. There's 10 siblings, but you think of Sean and Marlon, and they're here just like this is like their introduction to the wider world in a way. I mean, they had done stuff before this, And this movie wasn't a huge hit, but for its budget, it was a huge hit. And they're just so great. Sean Wayans, he's kind of like the straight man to the wackier Marlon Wayans, but he's still very funny. He's playing more like the everyman Ashtray here.
Right, Ashtray.
He's more like the Cuba Gooding Jr. from Boys in the Hood, where he just gets dropped off of the hood by his mom, who's like, I'm sorry, you gotta live here now.
Right. I like how he's like, am I gonna see you again, Mom? And she's like, no, I'm sorry, honey. You know there's no positive female black women in these movies. And just the self-seriousness, like, it's playing it so straight where he just nods and he's like, yeah, you're right. It's just like completely accepting of that like meta joke. I like that attitude toward all the meta things where they're just like, it's just very normal to them.
Yeah, and I love how there's like multiple gags going at once, which is funny. We covered a horrible spoof recently, Silence of the Hams.
That's true. This is redeeming the spoofs for us.
Right, where that movie just goes for gag after gag after gag, and none of them work. I mean, they all just fall flat. And here, it's like, the batting average is insane. It's like, I mean, with any spoof, every gag's not going to hit, but you're getting like, it feels like 100 gags a minute, and like 80 of them work. It's like impossible to catch everything the first time because you're laughing so hard. But I love how stupid that car scene is, where his mom is played by Vivica A. Fox, who is just like so fine. And Independence Day later that year, my brother and I were talking about this the other day. He rewatched that movie with his wife, and that, you know, the revelation that she's a stripper in that movie, he was like, I watched that when I was like 10, and that awoken feelings in me. And, you know, I was like 14 or 15 at the time. But, she was beautiful in that movie, as the mom. But someone's just dumping leaves on the car. Like, they're making fun of filmmaking in general, and they just go so over the top with the leaves getting dumped everywhere. It's so great.
Well, that's definitely ripping on Boys in the Hood, too, because I love the attention to detail there, where they're, like, paying attention to even, like, how the sets and how the set dressing looked in, like, the movies that they're spoofing, that they're trying to imitate it that closely. And I really appreciate that in Scary Movie as well with Scream. And so just the leaves falling, like, that's an image that feels very potent to Boys in the Hood. But just how they're going overboard with the leaves, and then she hugs him at one point and has to, like, spit, like, kind of blow on the leaf that's stuck on his back. Like, it's such a stupid small detail, but it makes that scene.
There are so many great details in this, and the plot is just so bare bones, where Ashtray is like, I gotta get out of the ghetto, man, and then he sleeps with this really promiscuous girl named Dashiki one time, who has all these children, and she says as soon as they're done that she's pregnant. She knows it because she's been pregnant so many times. Jordan, the line I'll never forget that stuck with me after all these years is when she says her name's Dashiki, she says,
My name is Dashiki. That's Swahili for doggy style.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Just great. So great.
I was wondering if you would say the same line that's stuck in my head all these years, and I don't know why, and I probably didn't even fully understand what it meant when I watched it at like 10 or 11, but when they finally have sex, him and Dashiki, and he's like, oh, you're so tight, and she goes, wrong hole, fool. And the way she says that is just lived in my brain forever.
And you probably had no idea when you were little watching that,
right? Right. I definitely didn't even remember him saying like, oh, you're so tight or whatever.
I mean, I'll never forget it because the guy that saw the movie when he was recreating the sex scenes was making it all kinky. Like it was a really hot scene, you know, which it's not at all. I mean, it's a really goofy, over the top, stupid sex scene. It's really funny and awesome.
Which is what preceded by her like pouring Kool-Aid on his stomach and like melting cheese on his chest on the kitchen floor.
Like Hot Shots. If you were a kid and you only saw this in Hot Shots, the food foreplay in both those movies is so incredible. You'd be so confused.
Apparently they're spoofing with 9.5 Weeks, which I've never seen, but I guess both movies are doing that there. And again, watched both of these growing up as a kid, have no idea like what they were spoofing.
Yeah, right. Was that Mickey Rourke? Man, I don't even know if I've seen that.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Apparently a lot more kinky than Don't Be a Menace, so your buddy should have watched that instead.
I guess so. And then he could have given us the recap of that, and I would have been like, yeah, that sounds about right. I love that Dashiki lives at 6969 Penetration Avenue. It's just like...
And what Loke Dog lives at 187 Drive-By Lane or something like that.
And like every product placement is a gag. Like everything is a gag. Like the cereal is Wheaties. I mean, everyone is strapped. People are just dying left and right.
Well, I love we should mention the very opening shot where we're like coming down from the trees onto the street, and it's very much like the same shot from Boys in the Hood. And then you see the stop sign, and it says, "I wouldn't stop if I was you." And then the stop sign just falls over, like from the camera hitting it, I guess. And then you've got all these guys in the street, like, "Let me tell you how it is in the hood." And then they just get shot immediately. And like, never mind, we're going to switch narrators. Yeah. Just like such a great gag.
It's so good. And then you've got their older brother, the Wayans brothers' older brother, Keenan Ivory Wayans, popping in to say message every time you get your little message moment, like all the movies that this spoofing have.
Well, and he's the mailman, right? So it works on both ways, where he's like delivering a message, but he's also like, message!
Yep. Jordan, the character here that I completely forgot he existed, but is my favorite, and I don't know how I forgot him. Can you guess who my favorite character is in this?
Crazy Legs?
Yes, Jordan. I love Crazy Legs so much.
Crazy Legs is so funny.
Crazy Legs used to be the best dancer in the hood, but now he's paralyzed from the waist down after a drive-by. What's up, Crazy?
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'll be right there, all right? Yeah. Woo! Yeah. That's the way to start the day. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, partner?
What's up?
His laugh, he's just like, like, can't even do it. I can't even do it. You gotta insert the audio.
Oh, I'm just gonna put his laugh through this entire episode, even the scream parts, Jordan.
Oh yeah, boys.
That was pretty good. It's so good. He's in a wheelchair because he lost his legs in, a crime accident.
Like a drive-by?
Yeah, a drive-by. And he's just in this wheelchair with like a Playmobil on it, and everyone loves him. They're just pushing him around, having the best time with him. And he's having the best time.
It's like his little feet with his baby shoes. And they're just like kicking around.
Yes!
And then he has the dream of being like a MC Hammer dancer, where he just like busts into like a dream sequence or imagination of him like on ropes, like suspended from the ceiling with MC Hammer dancers, and he's doing his little leg kicks. It's so good.
And they play it straight too. It's great.
Right.
This movie is not serious in any way to where you would be like really invested in the story. But I will tell you, Jordan, since I had forgotten that Crazy Legs existed somehow, in the scene with the drive-by where Crazy Legs gets pushed into the car, yeah. I was like, no, Crazy Legs, no! Thankfully he lives, but man, I was invested in that. I didn't know what Crazy Legs to bite it.
When you were like Shawn Wayans when he picks up his little baby shoe and he's like, why, God?
Oh, man, it's so good. I like the Preach character too.
Right.
He will ditch the hottest black woman on the planet for like the ugliest white girl, and it's so stupid. It's so dumb. But every single time it's funny.
And he's got those glasses where he's like putting the glasses down his nose and kind of looking down his nose. He's got that look as he's like checking out the white girl. It's so stupid.
He's great, man. And then the grandma, the foul-mouthed weed-smoking grandma that goes to church. Oh,
she's classic.
Jordan, the other line that's been stuck in my mind, and I can't get it out, is whenever Shawn Wayans is flashing back to his first girlfriend that he ever slept with. He's like, I'm not a virgin. And he tells a story, and the mama is going off to church, and then she forgets something and comes back, and you think like she's going to walk in on them having sex and yell at him, but nope. She comes back in with like lingerie, and she's like,
oh, hold him down, baby. Let mama have him.
She's like in S&M gear. She's like got whips and like a mask and everything.
It's so awesome. It's so dumb. And
let mama have a turn or something. It's so dumb. They're spoofing the scene from Boys in the Hood where the same thing happens with Lawrence Fishburne plays the dad. Cuba Gooding Jr. is the son. Yeah, just dropped off in the hood to like learn how to be a man. So he's telling that same kind of story. But then here you've got Ashtray he's telling it to his dad, who's like, the whole joke here is that his dad's only like a few years older than him, but he's like, but then they kind of devolve it into like the dad's even younger than him because he can't go to like a party because it's 18 and up. And like last time he saw his dad, like he couldn't ride the amusement park at the carnival because he was too short or whatever. And just like all these stupid jokes about how young his dad is, like his dad's younger than him. But I like how the dad in that scene, he's like shaving his head. Like he shaves like kick me into the back of his head. And he's like, oh man, like let me have her next time. He's like, what, that girl? And he's like, no, that mama. Like give me her number.
I mean, this movie's perfectly cast. Everyone is perfect in their role. I love how the dad is played by Lamar Tate, who's Lorenz Tate's brother. Lorenz Tate from Menace to Society. Really good in that.
Yeah.
That is a serious film, which this is not.
Yeah.
I got really nothing negative to say about this film at all. I mean, for me, this is an 8 out of 10, which for a spoof is like a 10 out of 10. Like, I don't know if there's any spoof that makes me laugh harder than this. And Jordan, my movie connection, so simple here. He and his dad go fishing in the LA River and have a heart-to-heart.
Oh, yes. I noticed that, and I've totally forgot that for the movie connection, but yeah, Terminator 2, famous LA River scene. Yeah, and they're just fishing in the LA River here.
While someone's dumping leaves on their head still.
You also have like all these product placements, like you said, and posters in the background. So you have like a Robo Pimp 3 poster that you see like at the convenience store. So that could tie into Terminator. But yeah, we could just go on and on about like all the gags and all the stuff in this and just like talk about this for forever.
For sure. If you haven't seen this movie, you gotta be a little thick-skinned. If you're easily offended, this is not for you. Also, why are you listening to Filmshake? We should have offended you away by this point.
Right.
I don't know how you ended up here, but I can't recommend this enough. This is one of the funniest movies in the 90s to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's another spoof that like is on par with this. I mean, maybe like Hot Shots would be up there with this for sure, but this might be funnier. Yeah. Like in the long run.
Right. You've got so many really funny 90s spoofs. I mean, you've got the 2 Hot Shots movies, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, Robin Hood Men in Tights. For
Loaded
sure.
Weapon.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of funny ones.
Weapon.
But
yeah,
I think this is the funniest of those, to me, personally.
Yeah. It probably definitely has like the most jokes that land out of all those spoofs. So based on that, it'd probably be number 1. It'd be at the top.
Yes. Man. So happy, Jordan.
Damn it, Nick. Why'd you pick this as a punishment film? We could do a whole episode.
Yeah. Well, wait. What's your score for this?
I'd probably be with you like 4 out of 5.
Okay, right on. Maybe it could have been a main episode. I don't know. Just, it paired so perfectly with our main movie, Jordan. You have anything else to say about Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood?
I don't know. There's so many things I could say or we could go through, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely just go watch this film. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic. Just like our main movie, in a completely different way. 1996's Scream. Jordan, do you like scary movies?
I like scary movies, Nick. And you say it's different in a completely different way. I mean, it's still a parody in a way. You know, it's a parody. It's got comedic elements that are, you know, very meta, making fun of scary movies, right? The working title for Scream once upon a time was Scary Movie. So that's where you get the Wayans brothers Scary Movie spoof later in 2000. But yeah, it's not quite absurd, ridiculous comedy like Don't Be a Menace. Obviously, it has comedic elements, but it's still a horror movie. And, at the end of the day, it's working in a different vein, but just like to point that out, that there's a connection there.
Yeah, that's true. There is a connection there. And whenever Wes Craven, the legend who did Nightmare on Elm Street and a lot of other great horror movies, when he made this film and he was directing it, a lot of times people didn't get it, or he had to get people in the right spirit, or he had to deal with the studio. And he would remind them that, in a way, this is a satire of other horror films. But the key thing here is, and this still works for me, and this has always worked for me, the funny parts are in between the kills. Like, whenever you get to a serious moment, it's deadly serious. And the movie actually has an involving plot, so it's not like a full spoof like the movie we just talked about. The funny parts generally come in the valleys between the peaks of the kills. And that was how he explained it. Like, take this seriously whenever it's serious. But I mean, we've got gags in between then. Not necessarily gags, but definitely laughs.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if it was the first horror movie to really do that, but it's definitely one that I feel like does it the best from any that I've seen, mixing the tones. I mean, because like you said, he's famous for Nightmare on Elm Street. A lot of the Freddy movies are pretty comedic, in parts as well. But that's a very different tone as well. Like, a lot of the body horror stuff there is also comedic, and there's just, I don't know, there's like a more deviant vibe. Whereas the comedy here is, well, for one, it's more meta, and it's more like making fun of the horror movie genre he helped pioneer, which is, just classic in itself. But yeah, there's like a lighter tone to the comedy mixed in with the kills. And I just feel like they perfectly balance the tones, the back and forth here.
I agree. I think this is by far the best thing that Kevin Williamson ever wrote. I mean, there's some other enjoyable movies in his writing canon. The Faculty is very enjoyable.
The Faculty's great,
but not on this level. And I mean,
it's not on this level for sure, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I like The Faculty. We'll get to that one day. And I mean,
for sure.
His TV credits, you've made fun of Dawson's Creek a lot. It's kind of silly.
Yeah. I didn't realize that he was the TV writer for that.
Yes, he was.
Which is funny when you think about, did you go back and watch Scary Movie as like a connection piece to this?
The last time I watched Scary Movie was actually last year, for its 25th anniversary, but I haven't seen it since then. But I mean, it's really fresh in my mind.
Do you remember the James Vanderbeek cameo in Scary Movie?
Of course, Jordan.
So that was great, and that's a fun connection to Kevin Williamson, the writer.
Definitely. You know what? I think this movie really speaks to something the 90s had on an excellence level that current times in the past decade or so definitely have not had. Scream is meant to be a deconstruction of horror films in a way, especially slasher films, but it's also a great slasher movie. And now we've had a really unfortunate decade where the filmmakers have just had in their head, like, I want to do something interesting. I'll deconstruct things. I'll pick on Disney Star Wars again. Rian Johnson. The Last Jedi. I'll deconstruct Star Wars. They'll love it. Everyone will think I'm a genius. But it sucks. Because if you don't show reverence to the actual material and you don't actually make a good thing of what you're deconstructing, there's no point in you deconstructing it. In my opinion, unless you're deconstructing something that's really lousy and dumb and you want to point out that it's lousy and dumb. And frankly, if you're going to take over a major film franchise and do that, you don't need to be doing it because you hate it. But in the case of Scream here, the deconstruction stuff all works, but the movie still works as a great slasher film.
Right. And you can tell there's reverence for all the things that they're nodding to, all the things that they're, deconstructing or pointing out, the tropes of horror movies. Like, there's so many John Carpenter references to Halloween here. And so it's not just like Wes Craven saying, hey, look at me, I did Nightmare on Elm Street, even though there's a fun little nod to Freddy. There's like the janitor at the school whose name is Freddy, and he's dressed up. He has like the sweater that looks kind of like
And that's Wes Craven.
Oh, and that is I forgot. That is Wes Craven himself. So that's fun. I mean, there's nods like that, but then there's other just like little nods, little trivia bits that you wouldn't even probably get unless you went and like dug deep into it to understand like the reverence Craven is showing for the genre itself that he's also making fun of. So yeah, it's perfectly balanced.
Yeah, and Williamson himself, Halloween was the reason that he got into the filmmaking business. So a lot of that reference is coming from him too, because Halloween is his favorite film. So even though he's deconstructing those tropes, he loved that movie and he wanted to make something that would do justice to the genre and to the movie that popularized it. So you've got that going there too. Also, Jordan, I love the Wes Craven reference in the movie to the Nightmare on Elm Street films where Drew Barrymore's character says the first one's good, but the rest suck, basically. And apparently Wes Craven was like, nah, everyone's going to think I'm an asshole if you put that in there, since, he made the first one and the other people made the others. Most of the others. They said no. That's how everyone feels, Wes. That's true.
Well, yeah, we should talk about Drew's first scene, the opener.
Dude, I am ready to go scene for this. I'll
yeah.
withhold on doing that, but I do want to go through this chronologically. And that first scene is incredible. I mean, I'll let you get into it. Interrupted you, of course, but Jordan, the immediacy where like the Dimension logo comes up in the first second, and then the title card comes up, and then you get a scream and a loud noise, and then the phone rings and you're in the movie.
It's a perfect opener. It's so classic. It's so memorable. I feel like you could almost just have this scene as a standalone movie. It feels like its own little act almost. And Drew, just everything from Drew Barrymore and like how she's dressed, that kind of white beige sweater that she's wearing, and the landline like handheld phone, and the Jiffy Pop on the oven, the layout of the house, just like everything in this scene feels iconic. And it was pointed out to me even more watching Scary Movie at, like I was mentioning, the level of detail they went to kind of copy those scenes and how they almost but not quite matched that same house. And obviously Carmen Electra playing Drew Barrymore, different kind of vibe there, but there was so many like little pieces that they hinted back to, not even in like a spoofing way, but it was again kind of reverence, like the Jiffy Pop. But then in Scary Movie, the Jiffy Pop thing gets like really huge and it's ridiculous, like it's taken over the kitchen at some point. But like that is all just to say like how iconic all these little images, all these little touches just from this opener are. And I love it. Yeah, it's amazing. I kind of gave us a broad overview of like my feelings for it and the vibe, but what are the details here? Let's get into it.
Yeah, for sure. Like you get the foreshadowing immediately where you get the shot of the swing outside, which is going to become very important at the end of the scene. I love the concept of the Jiffy Pop, obviously, because it's the growing tension in the scene, Jordan. It keeps coming closer and closer and closer to popping, and then it pops and burns. That's a great tension builder there. I love how you're immediately introduced to the pop culture angle of this film. It's so 90s, too. The 90s, of course, being the last decade of the 20th century. Jordan, there's a lot of fin de siècle stuff in this movie that I really love, obviously, even though we're not in 1999, like we're getting to the close of the century. But I love the pop culture. What's your favorite scary movie? Right off the bat, we're right in it with that theme going throughout the film. And we're talking about real movies, like not fake made up movies. They start talking about real horror films, which I like. Yeah,
and so you get the caller on the phone, you get the kind of scary movie guy voice, we learn later it's a voice box that they're using, but this kind of like creepy voice, but it's not even like creepy. It kind of sounds cool, like, and you can see why, like there's like some charisma behind this voice, and it's intriguing, and that's why she kind of stays on the phone. This guy, like, what's your favorite scary movie? I don't know if there's like a Nicholson thing they're going for there a little bit, maybe. But yeah, I like that he asks her, what's your favorite scary movie? And she says, I don't know, Halloween. And then as she's saying Halloween, she's pulling out the kitchen knife from the knife block. And so, like you said, right away, you're getting that meta element too, where you're like, oh, this movie like is self-aware.
Yeah, for sure. And you've got the voice there by Roger L. Jackson. It's an very intelligent voice. There's something like a little sinister underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that they were actually talking to him and they never really saw him. Everyone who speaks to him on the phone. So that's a cool touch. But I just love the escalation in this scene, Jordan, because it's just kind of an annoying guy calling her, and he does great psychological tricks throughout the scene to stop her from dialing 911, because Jordan, did you get prank called in the 90s by anyone scary?
No, I think I was mostly me and my friends, mostly the ones prank calling people.
Well, I grew up in a rural area like this. I love that the film, a lot of it said it looked kind of like a California town, maybe a North California town, but like one that's kind of like on the outskirts where the countryside is always there. So that adds like an extra layer of the horror. But I grew up in the country and I got so many scary prank calls when I was home alone. Like, I'm going to come get you, boy. I know you're a lone boy. Like lots of scary ones where I'd be like hiding under the bed, you know.
Damn.
So that was a thing in the 90s. And I was never like, well, let me call 911. I was always like, I don't want to look like a dumbass. I'm sure it's nothing. So it's believable that she doesn't immediately call 911 since this was a thing then. And then he uses psychological tricks throughout to stop her from doing that, as well as he just keeps calling. But I love the escalation where he says, I want to know who I'm looking at. Like when he says that, it's like you get the music stinger and the tension ratchets up like, oh crap, wait. This isn't funny.
Why? You want to ask me out on a date?
Maybe. Do you have a boyfriend?
No.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
What did you say?
I want to know who I'm talking to.
That's not what you said.
What do you think I said? What? Hello?
Look, I gotta go.
Wait, I thought we were gonna go out.
Nah, I don't think so.
Don't hang up on me.
Yeah, but then she's like, wait, what did you say? And he circles back and he's like, oh, I want to know who I'm talking to. And so there's like that moment of doubt for the character of like, wait, I don't know about this. I like that he kind of tries to cover his tracks there for a moment, but like we as an audience and she knows as well, like, oh, something's not right.
Right. Like, and he just keeps stringing her along, but then he gets more and more menacing. He keeps telling her not to hang up, and she does hang up, and then he's like, if you hang up on me one more time, I'll gut you like a fish. Which, yeah, I prank called a few people and said that, Jordan. I'm not going to lie. Especially my sister or female relatives. But
was it after you watched this movie?
Well, of course. I was directly quoting this.
Directly quoting it.
Yeah, and we'll have to get into our first viewings of this movie after we get through this scene, because I feel like we've got to do this intro to the movie first.
Yeah.
I love how she brings up her boyfriend, and she's like, he plays football. So it's like a jock, right? Like a big protector figure, and they like immediately squash that, like, that's nothing. And then he's outside. They have him outside, and they
in his Letterman jacket.
In his Letterman jacket, yeah.
Yeah.
And they show him, so you know he's really out there, and this is for real, and she has to do a trivia contest to keep him alive, which she fails by missing who the killer is in the first Friday the 13th movie, Jordan. That was pretty brilliant, because I think a lot of kind of horror normies might think the first killer is Jason, and it's not. She's wrong. Drew was wrong.
Jason's mother.
That's right. Yeah, and it keeps amping up. Since she gets it wrong, the boyfriend gets gutted. Jordan, the special effects. I'm going to say your name. You know, I always say your name a lot in the episodes.
Say my name. Say my name.
That's right, because I want you to know who I'm talking to. I don't want you to think like, is he talking to somebody else? But I'm just going to get so excited.
Maybe you're prank calling somebody and you're talking to them. And I'm like, wait.
That's right.
I thought we were doing a podcast, Nick.
But if I'm like, I'll gut you like a fish, Jordan, then you're like, oh, he's talking to me.
It's me. Okay.
He's going to gut me like a fish.
Yeah, just that. I remember that line specifically being like, again, another one that just stuck with me, and so specific and so nasty and very effective. Just well done writing there.
Right. It's a scary scene. It's really a terrifying scene, which again, this movie has the satire and spoof and deconstruction going on throughout, but when it has to have moments like this, they're so effective.
Yeah, I do love that you pointed out the countryside vibe where you definitely get the sense that, and he points out too on the phone, like if she calls 911, like they're never going to get there in time. They're in the middle of nowhere, and that adds to the terror.
For sure, yeah. And then, I mean, you get the incredible effects of her boyfriend's gut spilled out all over the concrete by the pool.
Just very memorable. I don't know. Yeah, again, watching this, I was like 11 or something and just being like, wow, I don't know if I've ever seen guts like that in a film.
Oh, yeah, it's gnarly. Finally, he busts in on her, and at this point, you don't know that there are multiple killers. So it's like this guy knows everything and he's everywhere. And
yeah, spoiler alert for anybody who's not seen Scream, but why are you listening to this? We're going to spoil this movie.
We're going to talk about everything.
Everything.
But it's so visceral, the way that he's chasing her and like knocking her around. And then it feels really tragic when he stabs her, Jordan. It's like this great beauty is going out of the world, which Drew Barrymore, the biggest star in this movie at the time. And she was, I think, originally going to play Sydney. And she's like, nah, cast me as this part. Cast me as Casey so we can shock everyone. It'll be like Alien.
Well, I love that it wasn't about her ego. It was about like her commitment to what this film could do, you know, and her commitment to like the audience of like, oh yeah, let's do this, Wes. Let's, you know, cast me as this character because yeah, all the advertising, everything like had her front and center because she was the most notable actor. Everybody else was kind of more unknown. I just love that she was down for that. And she wasn't just like, oh yeah, I want to be the lead and be the most famous one, make all the money.
Right. And it's the best scene and the most unforgettable scene in the movie. So, I mean, why not? And it's like just like you said, a 12-minute short film that feels self-contained.
Yeah. It's like she had to have read the script and be like, this is the best scene. I want this scene. Right.
Yes.
Even if it's just, I only get to live for 12 minutes.
Yeah. And she gets stabbed in the neck. And she gets up. She runs. Her parents are getting home. It's so messed up because she has the phone. She was on the phone. And she has it with her still. And her parents get in. I love the mundanity of her parents, like looking down at the flowers and saying commenting on how great their flowers look in front of the front door. And then I like how also like when she looks up, she gets to take the mask off the killer and she sees who it is. And there's like some recognition there, which is, if you're paying attention, pretty important in a few minutes in the movie. But it's so messed up how, like, her parents pick up the phone to dial 911 and she's on the phone because she has the other phone and they just have to hear her die. It's so messed up.
Yeah, it's rough. I like how the mom, like, has to go and the Jiffy popcorn is on fire on the oven. On the stove, and she has to like put it in the sink and turn on the water. She just leaves the water running and like walks away, you know, calling for her daughter.
Yeah, the continuity between scenes is great. If I remember right, I think the dad, when he tells her to go to this neighbor's house and call the police, that it's the same family name as from Halloween. Whenever the Mackenzies.
Happens. Yeah, that's cool.
Very cool.
See, again, another like just reverence for the genre as he's also making fun of it. Because it's a perfect, like you said, it's a ratcheting up of tension. We're going from playing with the meta commentary about scary movies, and then at some point just blending kind of seamlessly into a scary movie itself. You get that line where he said, I want to know who I'm looking at. And then the other questions of like, what door am I at? That's messed up, you know, just like you said, all the psychological warfare and how he messes with her head here.
Right. And like Jordan said, spoiler alert, there are two killers. And the crazy thing is if they're both there, then they're at either door. So she's dead either way.
So she's wrong either way. Yeah.
Yeah. But she gets stabbed and killed brutally. And then her parents go outside. They run outside and they see her and scream. And then you've got the camera just flying at her dead body as she's hanging from this swing. And it's really Drew Barrymore with prosthetic guts hanging out that again look incredible. And I watched the making of where she's really up there hanging and they're doing this hours of makeup and they took a Polaroid and were like, look how cool you look. She's like, whoa. And then, you know, she has to be dead. And Wes Craven, like, excellent of the camera just flying at her. It's like so shocking.
Yeah.
That's it for this opening sequence, Jordan. Jordan, how'd you first watch this movie?
I remember watching this in my mom's house in the living room. We had entertainment system set up, TV set up. Remember watching it with like her, my brother Corey, and a good friend at the time and from middle school, this guy Braden, who would turn out to be a troublemaker, to say the least.
I thought you were going to say a psycho killer.
No, he not quite a psycho killer, but like drug addict, lived in a halfway house, expelled from school, got me into a good bit of trouble, you know, early on in middle school. They kind of like taught me to stay away from him for, you know, for most of high school. But watch this movie with him. I guess that's a precursor to all that, because then after watching this movie, we were just so psyched by it. And I guess we already had the ghost face mask, you know, because it was just everywhere.
Yeah, I had one too.
Just hadn't even seen the movie yet, but had the mask. And we were in like maybe a fake knife or whatever. And I'm just thinking now, I'm fucking 11 years old, like running around outside with this mask on and a fake knife, just like acting like we're killing each other or whatever. I was just like, how fucked up is that? But, you know, still, it was a fun memory. Again, just watching this for the first time, being so shocked and surprised.
That's awesome. Well, I had just finished the 10th grade. I was going to turn 16 a little later that year, and I did. I'm still alive now talking to you, Jordan. But
good job.
Very ironically, school was out for summer.
School was out.
Blasted in a very famous needle drop later in this movie.
Yeah.
But my good friend Simpson, whose house I had stayed at many times, his parents were going out of town. And my cousin Rhett, who you know well, was going to stay there with him because Rhett will be around, so it'll be all right. Well, we had a house party, Jordan. We invited a bunch of people over and we had a party. And
just like they do in the movie.
Just like in the movie. I was, after Simpson, he was the youngest guy there. I was second youngest guy. Everyone else was older than us. So it was super cool, right? I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is great. I'm making memories right now. Rhett's sister, my cousin Jessica, had rented this movie. And it just bounced around all summer. I don't think she ever returned it. I'm pretty sure that, I think it was West Coast Video probably charged her like $70 for the movie. And then they went out of business and she never had to pay. But
nice.
We watched this at the house party. And I mean, we were going nuts. There were a lot of girls there and they were all freaking out and screaming throughout the movie. So that was great. Then we started scaring the girls like at any chance we got. It was awesome. I felt so old, Jordan. 16 is like 35. Well, 35 is old. You don't want to be 35 when you're 16. But it was great. It was wonderful. We also rented Bad Boys and The Long Kiss Goodnight. And later, like really late, I don't know, like 3 a.m. we watched Bad Boys. That's a whole nother story. But nice. Man, good times. Just one of my favorite memories.
That's awesome.
And even better, when that was all over, a couple days later, I snagged the copy of the movie. And I was at my cousin Adrian's house, who couldn't go to the party. His parents...
Aw, it's a bummer.
He couldn't go. Like, his parents wouldn't let him over there. But he has 2 younger siblings like I do. And my younger siblings were there. And our younger cousin Lauren was there. And these are all like young kids. Like, my brother was like 9 at the time. Most of the kids are around that age. And I had the movie. I had snagged like Jessica's rental copy. And I was like, you kids gotta watch this. So I made them all watch it.
9-year-olds, yeah.
I scared the hell out of all of them. It was great, Jordan. God, being the big brother cousin was just fantastic. You know, I had a great time because of my older cousin, and then I wanted to give everyone else a great time. And I don't know how much fun they had being scared shitless when they were like 9 and 10, but I made them watch it, Jordan.
Well, hey, I was not that much older, and I had a good time, but...
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then I showed this to my son. I don't know how he was. Probably a little older, but not that much, like 11 or 12. And he loved it. We've gone through this series. We've seen all the ones that have come out since he's been alive and old enough to go to the movies together. And, you know, none of them are as good as the original, in my opinion. He likes 4 the best.
Oh, he likes 4 the best?
He does. He loves 4.
That's crazy.
Honestly, that one's probably my second favorite. There's some things about that I really like.
I don't know if I've seen 4. I think
you haven't. I'm sure you haven't.
I stopped at 3, probably. I saw
which is the worst one.
Yeah, that's probably why I stopped. I've seen probably 1, 2, 3, and then I saw the first Legacy sequel one that they made a few years back. Not the one that just came out.
Yeah, that was okay. It was alright.
Yeah,
there were parts I liked.
Yeah.
And they've had 2 more since then.
And yeah, I can't keep up. And that's crazy that they're still making these movies. But yeah, even though I haven't seen all of them, I can just guarantee that the first one's got to be the best.
I think by far the best. I mean, I enjoy most of the other movies, but to a much lesser degree than this one. All right, well, the soundtrack for this movie, it's surprisingly hard to find for something that went multi-platinum, but I think it's because there are some kind of rare tracks on here, and one of them is in this next scene. We're introduced to Sidney Prescott, who's played by, is it Neve or Nev Campbell?
I've always heard it Nev Campbell.
I've heard people say Neve. I have no idea.
Neve? What the hell is Neve? Get out of here. Get out of here. It's Nev Campbell.
I grew up in a cane field in the middle of a swamp, so I'll just say whatever you say. Nev Campbell.
If her name was Neve Campbell, then she would not be a Hollywood actress. Let me just tell you that.
You're probably right.
And apologies if I'm wrong, Neve. But yeah, Nev Campbell.
Yeah, Nev Campbell. Who is our beautiful protagonist, Sidney Prescott, who is not in every single sequel to this, but she's in most of them. She's the central character, and which I guess is a spoiler that she lives, not like we care.
Or she's not the killer.
Yeah, she's not the killer. There you go. She's being very studious. You know, she's the virgin character, like the good girl character, and
like the Jamie Lee.
That's right, she's the Jamie Lee.
Who is also referenced multiple times.
Yeah, but then her stupid boyfriend, Billy, comes over. Skeet Ulrich. Is it Ulrich or Ulrich, Jordan?
I've always heard Skeet Ulrich. Ulrich.
I heard Ulrich. It's Ulrich.
See, I don't know. I don't know where you're getting. You must be getting your information from that Don't Be a Menace kid at school. I don't know. He's got it all wrong.
Yeah, and that kid did not make it through high school.
Billy Loomis. Loomis, another callback to Halloween.
That's right, Dr. Loomis. And then Sydney screams because her boyfriend scares her when he comes in. And then her dad comes into the room. She hides her boyfriend. And they have a quick talk where we find out he's about to leave for a business trip. She's going to be all by herself. And the upcoming year of her mother being murdered is coming up. It's almost been a year anniversary. So that adds a pall to things. But you can see that she loves her dad. She says goodbye to him and gets him to think, okay, no one else is in the room. And he leaves. And then Billy plays Don't Fear the Reaper on the stereo. It's a cover by Gus Black. It's like a great 90s cover where it's like an acoustic cover, but it's creepy. And there's like a very 90s female backup vocalist. I don't know. I've listened to it like 1,000 times since I got the soundtrack for this movie. Nice. I mean, that's one of my all-time favorite songs.
Were you able to find the soundtrack?
Eventually. Getting it for under $30 took a while, which is insane, right? You would think this soundtrack would be everywhere.
Where'd you snag it for under 30?
Discogs. Discogs is a great place to get good deals.
It is. Yeah, it is a good place, for sure.
Wonderful. But he's such a creep. You know, he plays Don't Fear the Reaper, which obviously, like, is like a tell there, right? That, first of all, he does a voice. He holds up one of her stuffed animals and does, like, a little voice. So, like, that's like, you know.
Cindy!
Right.
Or something like that.
That's like the killer, you know, does a voice. And then he says he watched The Exorcist and thought of her.
Yeah, yeah.
What a creep. Which he ties it around to how, like,
it was the TV, made, or the TV edited version. And it's just like everything that Billy says is so creepy as far as like his relationship with Cindy. Like, can we do some above the clothes stuff? And like, you know, all this sex stuff, you know, I wasn't trying to push it on you, but like obviously his mind, he's like only after this girl to have sex with her, and it's just so skeezy.
Yeah, for sure. He's like, you know, it was the TV edit of The Exorcist, so all the good parts were cut out. Just like our relationship, you know, it was hot and heavy, and now it's not. You know, because her mom got murdered. I mean, that's the reason. Besides her just being a good girl in general.
Yeah, and he's just basically like, man, your mom got murdered, and like now we haven't been able to like fool around as much, and I'm really bummed. It's just like the most toxic male imaginable watching this now.
Yeah, and he gaslights her throughout the movie and gets her to say some kind of stupid things later. For sure, he's he's super evil. I mean, he's a serial killer.
Yeah, spoiler.
Right. And he plays this cover of Don't Fear the Reaper, that's creepy. And it's Don't Fear the Reaper, where he says, baby, I'm your man. And her man is the serial killer. Or one of the killers, which is pretty gnarly.
Well, and I like how you're saying early on, there's all these tells, like, oh, it's Billy. There's all these different things that make you feel like in any other movie, all right, they're just throwing me a red herring and I'm watching this and it's like way too obvious to think that he's the killer. And if you're watching a murder mystery, and that's basically what a lot of this is, it's just like, oh, you're trying to figure out who the killer is. And it's just early on, yeah, it can't be Billy. That's just way too obvious. And I love how the movie uses that as an advantage to like trick the audience.
Yes, multiple times. It's awesome. And I also love that he's tricking Sidney here. Like if you go back and watch it a second time, which this movie definitely rewards repeat viewings, I love that this is the moment where he's distracting her so that Stu can kidnap her father, which becomes a plot point later on that her dad has been kidnapped. And this whole thing is basically a ruse so that her father can be kidnapped before he leaves on this trip and she won't notice or know that it happens.
I never really thought about that aspect of it, of like when they kidnapped her dad. But yeah, it would have had to been right around this time or shortly after.
I think it's right then because he basically turns on the music to cover the sounds of what's going on downstairs.
That's an insane detail I've never caught. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, Wes and Kevin cooking.
Well, just real quick, another
I
detail
hated that
I
just said that. Kick me in the nuts. Kick me in the nuts.
Wes
through the
and
phone.
Kevin cook.
Gut me like a fish, Jordan. And not with
Sorry,
your penis. That's not a sexual thing. I mean with a knife.
You don't want me to stab my penis through the bathroom stall?
Dude, Scary Movie is so good.
I haven't watched it in 25 years and watched it the other night in prep for this. So like now I'm just gonna have so many Scary Movie gags as we go through Scream.
Also relevant, another Scary Movie, the first one in years, is coming out, and the Wayans brothers are back for it, which they kind of left that franchise after the first few entries.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were back with it.
Yes, and they've promised like they're gonna do away with PC culture. They're like, if you like Don't Be a Menace and Scary Movie and that kind of humor, we're bringing it back. Like we don't care.
Nice.
Who it offends with Gen Alpha or Gen Z or whatever. Like, we're bringing back that humor from the 90s. So
that's fun.
Yeah. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah, hopefully. A quick detail I really love that sets up some stuff earlier, too, is the closet door being ajar as the dad tries to open the bedroom door. It gets caught by the closet door. And therefore, he can't get in the room until like she unblocks it and lets him in after Billy's able to hide. And so that's just like a little small detail here that then later when Sydney's attacked by the Ghostface killer, she runs upstairs, which she complains about horror movies. The big-breasted girl always running upstairs when she should be going out the front door. She runs upstairs into her room and then is able to block the entrance of the killer the same way that she did with her dad. So that's just like such a cool little small thing that it's so subtle and it's just like paid attention to here just enough for you to catch it and then see it again and like, oh, that makes sense for that later scene.
Yeah, that's a great catch, Jordan.
Which is cool too that like at some parts of the movie, the police are questioning, and I think what Stu might make the recommendation that maybe it was Sydney's dad, like went nutso around the anniversary of his wife's death and like he's the killer. So you have some question for a while of like maybe it's Sydney's dad. And so that's a cool parallel there as well of like, oh, he couldn't get through the door, and then the killer couldn't get through the door the same way. And so it makes you think they're one and the same.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of great red herrings in this movie. And we'll get to some of them, and some of them we'll probably miss because there's just so many good ones.
Yeah.
But we go to the school now. The school is like a circus because all these reporters are there because Drew Barrymore just got murdered the night before. Whenever Billy shows up to Sydney's room, it's right after he and Stu have killed Drew Barrymore. So he's just committed murder before he's gone up there. which is pretty freaky. And he's also like kind of trying to give himself an alibi there, you know, by saying
An alphabet?
an alphabet.
An alphabet by?
Elphaba. I've never even seen Wicked.
Elphaba?
I saw like my niece's performance in Wicked when she was in like the 7th grade. My Wicked.
Wait, so how's he trying to give himself an alibi?
Because he was with Sydney.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He and Stu have the same alibi, which is they were with their girlfriends, but they were with their girlfriends after they killed Casey.
Yeah.
Or in Stu's case, maybe before. We don't know. But we're introduced to Stu in this scene where we get to the school and there's a big circus. All these reporters are there. And I love that Linda Blair from The Exorcist plays one of the reporters. And like just to like add to that, she's wearing all these crosses. Like that's a great little funny detail there.
I didn't catch that. That's cool.
Yeah. And then we are introduced to Tatum, played by Rose McGowan, who is Sydney's best friend. And she gets her up to speed on everything that's happened. They go to class. I love the little detail that's like a great little emotional beat that's serious, where Sydney sits down. She said, I sat by Drew Barrymore in class. And she looks and sees her empty desk is like a great little emotional beat.
Yeah, amongst the more kind of fun, poppy fountain scene that we get to where we meet Stu. We see like the whole gang together. And now that you mentioned the Dawson's Creek connection, I'm like, oh, I can definitely see it in these high school scenes and how these characters talk to each other. So like quippily and back and forth and intelligently, it has that same vibe to it.
Yes, but like on a movie level. Like he's definitely operating above the Dawson's Creek level here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and a lot of Dawson's Creek, the dialogue is just obnoxious and terrible.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of there's like they work in a video store and there's a lot of like talking about movies in Dawson's Creek. So yeah, it's all connecting, Nick. It's all happening.
It's all happening. Yeah. And the Fonz is their principal. I love how
Henry Winkler.
I love how he's kind of a weirdo. He's like such a weird little character, and he interviews all the students. He's pretty sensitive with Sydney, not so much with some of the other students. And they're all talking about the questions that were asked them, and then they start talking about the killing. And you're introduced to Randy here, which Randy is a spectacular 90s character, Jordan.
Yeah. The video store geek, the compass for the movie as far as explaining he embodies the meta elements of this movie, right? He becomes the voice of like the satire and the commentary on horror movies because he's the video store clerk geek, you know, he knows all the rules of all the genres and everything. So yeah, I like that he gets to be that voice for the film.
Yeah, this is really the perfect Jamie Kennedy role. I mean, he was in a lot of major productions and some not so major ones after that, but this is really what he knocks out.
And maybe the only one that you could stomach Jamie Kennedy in.
Hey, Enemy of the State, which we covered 2 years after this, he's pretty fun as one of the agents there.
That's true. But later on, he gets really rough.
Also, I like him in Bowfinger in 1999. He was enjoyable in that.
I forgot about him in Bowfinger.
Yeah, he's in Bowfinger. Yeah, he does some goofy things. He was in some goofy movies. I think, what was it, Son of Mask? I never had the guts to watch that.
Never had the balls to watch that. Was it Malibu's Most Wanted? Wasn't he the guy in that?
Yeah, I don't think I watched that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's great as Randy. I mean, absolutely fantastic. And again, like, I feel like this type of character could have only been born in the mid to late 90s. He's fantastic.
Yeah, and he's got that nervous, paranoid kind of, he's not a slacker. You don't get that vibe from him. He's like, he cares too much about all these things. He's like got that nervous energy. But he's also, you also feel like he fits the geek persona as far as he's kind of picked on and put down by Stu and Billy, which, again, another tell. Randy mentions how, like, didn't you date Drew Barrymore's character, Casey? And Stu just tries to kind of like brush it off, like, yeah, for like 3 minutes or whatever.
Right. That gives him motive to kill her, and her face when she sees the killer's face, like, it makes sense that it would have been him.
Yeah, because right there on rewatch, you're like, Randy's like, yeah, didn't you date her right before she got together with Brad or she dumped you for Brad. And so it's like, again, another motive to kill Brad, her boyfriend.
And I like the detail, too, that Randy has been fired and rehired at the video store multiple times. Like, he's kind of a screw-up.
Yeah, he's just kind of a screw-up.
Everyone thinks it's him, like him doing all the goofy stuff and making all the phone calls. Like, Randy would do that.
Yeah, it's interesting that they, like, and maybe it's just because, oh, these are high school characters, they would do that and, like, accuse each other and, like, who's the killer. But, like, normal people would just be like, oh, there's some adult out there, like, who killed these kids, you know? Like, would you really think, in a real world, would your first assumption be, oh, it was probably one of these high school boys?
I don't know. That's a good question. I never really thought of it, so I'm going to say no. I would have thought it was one of my classmates, Jordan.
When I think the movie points you in that direction early on to, like, start questioning which one of the students is it, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first time I watched it, I remember all of us, except for Red and Jessica and a few people had seen it and knew what happened. All of us that hadn't seen it were like, man, anyone could be the killer. Like, Courtney Cox could be the killer. Or
right.
It could have been anybody the first time you watch it.
I mean, we meet David Arquette, who plays Dewey. He's a sheriff's deputy. He's also Tatum's brother. He's kind of goofy, you know, but he's like sweet and innocent, but also a little bit bumbling, but not too much. I like that they kind of hold back on that. Like he does some silly stuff or says some silly stuff where like he's like not respected by Tatum and, you know, he's the youngest one on the force. And, you know, when I wear this badge, Mom says you got to treat me like officer of the law, stuff like that. But he's, you know, ultimately like, there's a little question here and there. Like maybe
there
it could
are
be
some
him.
Major red herrings with him late in the film. Like
yeah,
really
yeah,
big
later
ones.
in the film. Yeah, big ones for sure.
Yeah, he's Tatum's brother. Jordan, we buried a major lead though. And that's that Stu Macher is played by Filmshake favorite Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard. Woo!
Dude, every line reading he has, and a lot of them aren't readings because he ad-libbed a lot of his lines. They're all perfect.
Yeah,
like everything he says and the way he says it is perfect.
Yeah. So he's kind of obnoxious too, but like he's playing into that. Like, I don't know, that's just part of his kind of persona that he brings through with Stu. And Stu's just kind of over the top and ridiculous, you know?
Yeah, it feels like he could both possibly be the killer or be the frontman for Blink-182.
Yeah. He's playing a high school slacker idiot very well.
Yeah, and I mean, all his lines are great. Even whenever he's like, whenever the guys are just getting too graphic in the scene, they're grossing everyone out talking about murder, which two of them are murderers, so it makes sense. But his liver alone that he gets into where he keeps saying liver alone.
Better liver alone. Liver alone. Oh, liver. It was a joke.
You get, cause liver, and he's just like being as obnoxious as possible.
And he's so big too. That's something like they used to, the advantage of making him like, even though he's goofy, like kind of intimidating, like he's a giant compared to all the other actors. He kind of looms over everybody.
Yeah, he's very lanky too, and he's wearing these big sweaters, and all the outfits are just classic. I don't know, like looking back, it's super 90s. It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. And after the scene, a little detail I love is that Sydney rides the bus. Neve Campbell rides the bus. And she rides the bus home, and like a little girl on the bus is like, bye, Sydney. And she's like, bye. But then I love, again, the setting where she also lives in this remote home, like in the mountains of Northern California, like on the outskirts. Like all these characters you find live on the outskirts. So that kind of adds like,
yeah.
7, Jordan, like the end of 7, how they're like on the outskirts of civilization in those final scenes, and there's something like almost like spiritually otherworldly about that. I feel like there's just like a subconscious undercurrent in this movie, again with like the fantasy clay and the end of the 90s and the end of everything, Jordan. I really dig that detail. And her house, I mean, all the houses here are just like, I miss 90s houses. I miss 90s interiors. Granted, these are like upper middle class to upper class homes, but still, I love how the houses
like
look.
Almost Victorian, like this huge porch outside where you have a few conversations, and it's multi-story. And I love I feel like it's again another callback to Halloween of this kind of waiting for the darkness to come, where she's just kind of dicking around in her house and you see the sunlight coming through the windows.
She takes a nap, Jordan, and it really feels like she really takes a nap.
Right. Yeah. And there's something about that scene that always stood out to me.
Yeah.
And it's just like a weird vibe, like it's ominous, but there's nothing going on.
Right before the nap, she tries to watch TV, and they're just talking about the murders and the anniversary of her mother. She's got that in her head, and then she turns it off, and then that happens, yeah.
It's a creepy feeling, too, where it's like you see the light outside, and then she takes the nap, and then we cut to the nighttime. And it's like we've lost that time, and there's just something visceral about that whole element of that scene. I don't know, I always like that.
Right. And then the phone rings and wakes her up, and it's Tatum, because Tatum is supposed to go to the video store, which again, that just is a recurring element in the movie. She's going to get risky business. No, not risky business. Is it All the Right Moves?
All the Right Moves, yes, or you might see a little bit of his thing. Or
right, so they can see Tom Cruise's penis. And then she gets off the phone, and immediately the phone rings again, and it's the Ghostface Killer, Jordan. So I love the immediacy of this, too. Like, the crazy thing about Scream is it's like almost 2 hours long, which is kind of long for a horror movie, but everything is so immediate. Like, it's just like, oh, wow, this is happening right now. And he calls her. Like, right off the bat, they get into this conversation where he's asking her questions, just like we just saw happen with Drew Barrymore, where it's like, wait, I thought she was probably going to be the main character. It's like, she going to die right now?
Yeah, that's true, where it kind of keeps you on your toes, where like, well, maybe Sydney can die right now. We don't know. Like, who's going to be the next main character? How's this going to go down?
Yeah, and it has the same kind of escalation there where we know it's serious because we've seen the previous scene, but with her, it's kind of goofy and she thinks it's Randy. But then the guy on the phone mentions her mom's death, and that makes it serious. Like, it amplifies, the tension rises.
Like, Randy wouldn't do that, so she knows something's wrong.
Exactly. And then the killer's right there. He just busts in and starts trying to kill her, like, immediately.
Yeah, I like, too, that there's so many moments in Scream where the killer kind of gets the shit kicked out of him, too. Where, like, she's slamming the door in his face and, like, throwing stuff at him and he's tripping and all this shit. So, I'm just watching it. That's almost comedic in a way where you're just like, man, this killer, like, really gets it handed to him a lot of the time. But it also kind of makes it more real, too, where you're like, oh, this is, like, a real guy that could, like, either he could trip and he could like get knocked out, but he could also just like kill you. And that feels really immediate too, in a way. Like that he's not like some supernatural villain like that can't be taken out. But the fact that like, oh, this is a human under this cloak, like that gives it like another level of menace in a way.
Yeah, and Wes Craven said that was like a fine line they rode where they cut out a good bit of scenes of the killer getting beaten down like that because they didn't want to totally take the menace away, but he wanted to leave enough in there so that he could get the effect that you just mentioned.
Yeah. That's really cool that was an intention, and that you could like that's not even a statement that the film makes, but it's just like a subtle detail that then gives you that feeling that like you might not even be able to describe watching it. Like, oh, there's like another level of menace just because the killer feels more human, but you only like that's not really told to you. It's all just shown in these little bits.
Yeah, I guess that's why they called Wes Craven the master of horror, Jordan.
Maybe so.
And you get the great detail that you pointed out with the door where she runs upstairs and then the killer can't get in. And there was a girl in our group at the party that was like the online nerd, like AIM person that was always on AOL like all the time in 1997. And on the part where Sydney can't dial 911 because like the phone is dead, she dials it on her computer and everyone was like, hey, that's what you would do, Liz. So that was pretty great. I'll always remember that.
I'm always like, wait, how do you do that on your computer?
Yeah, 1996, Jordan, that's how. And then creepy Billy just busts through the window and he's like, hey, I heard noises.
Yeah, and I love the little stinger every time like he pops up, like and it gets almost like ridiculous the amount of times where he just like pops up and like it's like a jump scare or whatever because you're You're like, oh, come on, man. You keep trying to sell it to me that this guy's the killer, but like it can't be because that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. And then he drops us a cell phone, which, you know, I love later the policeman's like, son, what were you doing with a cellular phone? Like, you know, it's crazy that he has a phone.
And he's like, everybody has them nowadays.
Which everyone didn't. I didn't get one until 2000. That was roughly these kids' age. But I would guess a lot of kids in California did by then.
I love the gag in Scary Movie that mimics that, where it's like, drops a phone and then a knife and then the Ghostface killer mask.
Yeah. It's awesome. I love that there's a great gag here, too, where Sydney runs away from Billy, and she goes downstairs to the front door, finally, but when she opens it, the Scream mask is right in her face, but it's because Dewey is holding it up like a doofus.
Yeah, like, why is he holding that up?
It's so
like,
great.
for someone to answer the door, and he's holding it up for them for that to be the first thing that they see. But then she screams and he screams back, which is so funny.
I like David Arquette's expression there. Like, I like him in this role. Again, I feel like he did a lot of other stuff, but this was kind of like the David Arquette role. And he met his wife there, Courtney Cox, who's playing Gail Weathers, who's a bitch. That was like the whole reason that she signed on. Courtney Cox said, I'm sick of playing a nice person on Friends. I want to play a bitch. So she signed on for this role. But I love the sweetness between her and Dewey, where they really did fall in love and get married in real life for a long time. And I like how she just inexplicably likes him, but it's like believable. Like they have this goofy, fun chemistry.
When she's older, and he's talking about how like, I'm 25, but I was 24 for a whole year. Cause like what did she say? The main demographic of people that watch her show is like 18 to 24-year-old boys.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
That.
Courtney Cox is very pretty in 1997 or 1996.
You have to make that note.
She just had all that work done. And then she herself was like, why the hell did I do that? I was like one of the most beautiful women on earth. And I just messed it up. I mean, she herself has said that. So I'm not just being like an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. But yeah, so then you get the scene at the police, at the sheriff's station. I like how Billy is being led away as the sheriff is talking to Sydney. And he's like, come on, Sydney. You know it wasn't me, right?
I love that. And they get like a lot of little things planted in here where he makes this one phone call, but the sheriff calls his father. The sheriff is the one who calls his dad. So his one phone call is not to him, which Sydney brings up later. And he keeps giving these mean asshole looks to Sydney, like, I can't believe that you think it's me, like through the window.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah, I feel like Skeet Ulrich is just perfect for this part. I feel like everybody is really well cast and just like perfect for their parts in this. I can't think of many other movies that like he was great in or like I really enjoyed him as an actor, but Scream would not be Scream without Skeet Ulrich for sure.
Yeah, he's got like a special kind of 90s boyfriend menace that not too many people had. Both the movies that we're covering in this episode, I feel like they're pretty much perfectly cast. He was in Chill Factor in 1999, which is a really dumb action movie, but like it's kind of fun. And ironically, we talked about Cuba Gooding Jr. being spoofed in our Don't Be a Menace, and he's in that movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. It's really dumb. It's like a take on Speed, where they've got to keep something cold or it'll kill everybody.
That's so bad. I think, isn't he in Newton Boys? That's like the only other movie that comes to mind.
Nudie Boys?
No, the Newton Boys.
I've never even heard of that. I don't know what that is, Jordan.
No, the Newton Boys, like the bank robber guy.
Oh, from 1998, with McConaughey, right?
Yeah, he's in that. Skeet Ulrich is in that.
Isn't
right?
Dwight Yoakam in that?
I don't know. It's a Linklater film too, which is crazy.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
What were we talking about again?
Skeet Ulrich, Sheriff Station.
Yeah, everyone here is pretty iconic in their role, which is sort of unfortunate for their careers, is everyone kind of had trouble transcending their roles in Scream because they're so good. I mean, Drew Barrymore really was such a well-known name before that it couldn't happen to her, but this is the world's introduction to a lot of these actors and actresses. So,
would you say it had the Star Wars effect?
Yeah, maybe so, where Like, your Matthew Lillard is kind of like your Harrison Ford to a minor degree here, where he probably had like the most consistent working career. Obviously not nearly on the level as Harrison Ford, nowhere near it. But I mean, like,
yeah. But he doesn't have as much trouble escaping the Scream franchise as much as, well, like Nev is just in all the sequels, so she's just tied down to it for a long time.
Yeah, Courtney Cox obviously had friends before this, but really it's like not a lot after that. And then, like, she went back to the Scream movies herself. But Lillard's got SLC Pontius a couple years after this, like the big Filmshake movie. And he was Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo movies, and then he just consistently kept having really memorable parts, and maybe not the biggest productions, but you'd see him and be like, man, Matthew Lillard is good in this. Like the bridge that I always like to randomly bring up for no reason. He's so good in that.
When you would think Skeet Ulrich's career would kind of take off more after this, and Nev Campbell too, but I feel like out of all of the cast, they're kind of the ones that are like the most iconic from this film, and therefore kind of like the most stuck by the success of Scream as well.
Definitely. I mean, it's almost like people watch Skeet in this movie and we're like, man, that guy's scary. I'm not casting him in anything. He's not going to be in my damn movie. That guy's going to kill me.
Yeah, he's too good. He's too good as the killer.
Yeah, that's right. So you move on now to the scene where Sydney's leaving. She ends up decking Gale Weathers in the face because she didn't like the reporting that Gale Weathers did on her mother's murder, even though Gale, it turns out, was right about Cotton Weary not being the killer, the person that Sydney said she had saw. That guy ends up being innocent. He's played by Liev Schreiber in like just a TV cutaway, and that's it.
Right. I was about to say, do we even get to see him in this movie? Yeah, it's just the cutaway, right?
Yeah, that's it. He's just
later he becomes like a big character in the other films. But I like how this movie is almost like novelesque in that way, where you have all this backstory. You have like a name like Cotton Weary, which is so memorable as like this character in the background. Yeah, it's just like there's so much story built into this from the get-go. And like you said, it's all immediate. It's just like it's told through action and it's told through dialogue, and you know, you don't have any dumbass like voiceovers like, oh, Sydney's mother was killed, 1 year before, or any of that shit. Like, it's all just like baked into these characters in this moment, but it comes with like so much history. And I think that's a really cool aspect of this film.
It's all awesome. I love too that they are looking at the mask and it's just like a dime store mask that's called Father Death. It's obviously not called the Scream mask yet because this movie hasn't popularized it. So that's a pretty cool name for it.
Yeah.
You get the great red herring there that Billy is innocent because, well, the police looked at his he didn't make these calls. It wasn't him. They later find out it came from Sydney's dad's phone. But that's because they kidnapped him. So that's a nice little red herring there.
And there's a touch there too where like one of the officers says, well, couldn't like a cell phone be cloned? And then later, I think Stu says, we cloned your dad's cell. I'm also like, why would you need to clone a cell if you kidnapped him? Then you would just have his phone, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, I didn't have a cell phone in 1997 in 10th and 11th grade, so I can't tell you.
Well, maybe they cloned it so they could like both be calling from his number.
Oh, yeah, because they both need it, right? They have the phone and they need it. One of them would need a clone version.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Jordan.
There we go. We solved it. Solved the puzzle.
We solved it. Yeah. Sydney goes back to school. Everything is escalated. I love how you have people running through school with a Father Death mask on. The Fonz gets really pissed. He says to two of the kids, your entire generation disgusts me.
Well, wait, you also skipped the part where she's staying the night at Tatum's house and she gets the phone call. Billy's in jail. She gets the phone call from the Ghostface killer. And he's like, oh, you thought it was Billy, wrong. You got it wrong, and freaks her out there. I like how Dewey comes out to like check on her and he like picks up the phone and he's like, hello? And it's like another little doofus moment. And then also Rose McGowan going, bitch went down, bam, Sydney, super bitch. Like that dialogue always stuck with me too.
Right. And obviously Rose McGowan had some unfortunate things happen in her personal life, but I mean, like, this Tatum role is just like tailor-made for her. Like, that's how, like, a lot of people eternally remember her. And she's not even really blonde. It was, like, her idea, dye my hair blonde so I look different from Sydney. And also, like, apparently she picked out all her own wardrobe herself, which she has, like, a lot of, I guess, iconic outfits in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes, I did like her in that part. And they go back to school. Everything is wacky there. You get freaking Skeet Ulrich gaslighting Sydney and like, why won't you just fuck me? What's wrong with you, you stupid bitch?
Why won't you have sex with me? It's been a year, Sydney. Like, it's time to move on from your dead mom. Like, why can't we just fuck?
He's the worst.
It's so
man.
bad. It's the worst. It's so bad.
He's such a sociopath in this movie.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it all works. Like, it's well done that he is that way.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what a skeezy asshole. But again, it can't be Billy because that's just too obvious. Come on, movie. Stop making me think it's Billy.
Right. And you find out that his mother has abandoned his family and he lives with his dad because his mom left. But Sydney runs. She storms off. She says something about, I'm sorry that I can't match up to your perfect existence. Which is Kevin Williams' dialogue there. Dude, yeah. I love how she goes in the bathroom and it starts off with just the girls like talking bad about her. But then like someone else is in the bathroom with her. And it's got to be Matthew Lillard whispering Sydney, right? Like, doesn't it sound like him?
Yeah, it's got to be him. Which is a good touch, right? Because you're like, oh. You can rewatch it and be like, oh, well, Billy was not in the bathroom. Couldn't have been him. Right. So, yeah, it's got to be Stu.
Yeah. Yep, more great red herrings there. I love how she runs out. You get the scene with the principal getting murdered where he is yelling and yelling because he thinks kids are outside. And the janitor is out there. That's where he has the famous "Not you, Fred" line where it's Wes Craven dressed up in the Freddy Krueger sweater.
Yeah, that's so good. But yeah, and then there's a red herring with the principal too, where he catches like the two idiot kids running through the hall with the ghost face mask, and he brings them into his office, and he's got the scissors, and he's like snipping the scissors at him and fussing at him, and you're like, oh, like this dude's pretty like gnarly with these scissors, and he feels pretty ominous and violent right now. It could be him. He could be the killer.
Yeah, this principal's pretty unhinged.
Yeah, right?
Yes, until he gets killed himself.
With the scissors.
With the scissors, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have the iconic shot of the Ghostface killer in his eyeball, which apparently took a really long time to get right.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah. And then, man, this movie has so many great needle drops.
Right, because right before this, he announces to the school, like, and I love the little details we get of, like, hearing him on the intercom. And he's so manic, like he feels a little unhinged. He's like, for all your safety, we're going to send you home. Like, school's been canceled for the day. And right. You just feel like how, I don't know, terrified he is himself.
Yes, definitely.
So school is out.
Yeah.
Needle drop.
And I think that there was a cut scene where after the bathroom attack, Sydney runs and tells him what happened. And that's what escalates things. But it works fine without that scene, too.
Yeah.
I mean, the big Nick Cave red right hand needle drop that every movie has basically done since then, every Scream movie, because it's so iconic as the town is panicking and boarding up and everyone's leaving, which started like my lifelong love affair with Nick Cave's music. It started in this movie. The song was in X-Files too, but it was really
nice.
Here that it was most prominent, where I was like, what is this? I really like this. So that's awesome. You get the big needle drop with School's Out for Summer by Alice Cooper, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I love the detail of the stereo is like out on the window on the roof, and Sydney and Tatum are talking downstairs below that.
Yeah, that is cool.
Pretty gnarly. And you get some exposition there. Meanwhile, the killer is like stalking outside watching them talk.
Right, which is like maybe the one really goofy part of this movie where it's like you see the killer like stalking behind them in the bushes. We're like, how the fuck is no one noticing this dude in a black cloak with his ghost face.
Right. He's
mask
also in the
on.
grocery store too. Like
In the grocery store, yeah. You're just like, that's a little much, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, I have to think of things as like, he could just like be putting it on and taking it off as he's going along. And like everyone
For
is
the
like,
sake of the camera to catch him looking at Sydney.
also like everyone's evacuated or left or gone for curfew. So there's not a lot of people around to see him. Again, excuse it for that.
It's a cool effect too of feeling like, oh, now the town is like a ghost town. It adds to that same kind of horror feel of like nobody's around, everything's empty.
Yeah, for sure. It adds to the creepiness factor and that fringe factor. Also, Tatum has a line here which calls back to our Pretty Woman episode, Jordan, where I told you about the gerbling story with Richard Gere.
Yes! Fucking yes! That was going to be another movie connection. He's like, what does she say? Like, well, you just hear that Richard Gere gerbil story one too many times, you start to believe it.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
Me and Michelle looked at each other as we were watching this, and we were like, oh, dude, the gerbiling.
Yeah, it's there. Yep. It's great. What a great pop culture reference there. I was so happy because I forgot that was in this movie. And
I totally forgot. And I probably never knew what she was talking about because I didn't know that story until you brought it up on the Pretty Woman episode.
Yeah, it's great. And you go from this to just a great scene. Again, a very 90s scene in the video store.
Yes.
With Randy, where everyone is coming in to get horror movies to freak themselves out as they're going off for the curfew or to leave. And Creepy Stu and Creepy Billy come into the store and they have a conversation with Randy. It's such a great scene.
I loved Randy in this, and he's like, everyone's a suspect! And everybody looks at him, and he's like being the most unhinged.
Yeah, it's great. Like, he's freaking out, but he says so many things that are right here. Like, he says to Stu, you're such a little lapdog, which we find out he is. He says, maybe Sydney wouldn't have sex with Billy, which is true. She won't.
Right.
He says of Sydney's dad, his body would come popping out in the last reel.
Yeah, he's just a red herring. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. And then he says, the killer's Billy. And he's right.
Yeah, he's right about everything in this scene.
Yeah, and I love, again, the fin de siècle line that he delivers, where about motives, he says,
it's the millennium. Motives are incidental.
Millennium? Millennium, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Millennium.
I love that they get that. And I love that Randy is like that. Kind of unhinged himself. You know, like he's kind of into it, obviously. And that's part of the red herring of his character of like, oh, well, maybe it could be Randy. But then like that feels too obvious, right? This guy who's into all this stuff and he's like knows all the rules about the horror movies. And people are just accusing him left and right. Maybe it's you psycho. You know, you watch one too many horror movies.
Right, yeah.
And I like that. So apparently Wes Craven, Kevin Williamson, they were really into that idea of motives being incidental. Like it's almost scarier to not have a motive, to not really know why. And I mean, you kind of get that with, again, calling back to Halloween, just this supernatural, otherworldly villain, Michael Myers, just going to come and like kill everybody.
Yeah.
But the studio wasn't having it, and they were kind of going back and forth between like, well, it would be really effective and like help kind of close things down at the end to reveal the motive of the killers, but also like kind of toy with the idea that there really wasn't any motive, you know, similar to like something as scary as like Columbine or other school shootings.
I want to get into some Columbine stuff at the end of this for sure.
But I like how they kind of get away with both here. Like Randy gets that line. And then you also like, you kind of know Stu's motive for killing Casey and Brad, but like other than being a lapdog to Billy and like he jokes about peer pressure, what is really his motive behind this other than he's just kind of a psycho? Right.
Yeah. Well, there is a great prediction of Columbine. I'll save it for the scene that we get to it. But yeah, it's a great scene where they have this conversation where there's a lot of depth to the insanity of a lot of the stuff that they're saying. It's great. And then you get the full, like not all of Red Right Hand, but they just played an intro to it before. You get a big chunk of it now. And I love the red herring here with the sheriff where Sydney saw the killer's boot in the bathroom. And
Yeah.
you see a close-up of the sheriff's boot, and it's the same boot, but also, like, it's like, wait, is that just like the standard police boot? Like, does Dewey wear those boots?
Yeah, so then that's another, like, wait, a little tell of, like, wait, who could it be? You know, could it be the sheriff? Could it be Dewey? I love how it just teases you along, like, this whole movie, because, like, scene after scene, you're like, these characters are accusing these other characters, and then you move on to this next scene, and it's like, oh, here's, like, a shot that makes you think maybe it's this person, and it just keeps going until the very end.
Really? Oh, until, like, the last few minutes of the movie, for sure.
Yeah.
It's awesome. That ice cream cone, that strawberry ice cream cone that Dewey has, looks so good.
Well, I like how it's contrasted with the cigarette that the sheriff is smoking. So he's smoking a cigarette, and then it cuts over to Dewey, and he's, like, eating the ice cream cone. And it's just, like, such a boyish thing for him to be doing. He's like, oh, I was watching Sydney, and he's just, like, kind of fumbling around, like, eating this ice cream cone now.
Yeah, Deputy Dewey.
Deputy Dewey.
It's great. I love that Dewey isn't even his name, right? It's Dwight Riley.
Yeah, Dwight, but everyone calls him Dewey.
Yeah, Deputy Dewey. And then you get another awesome needle drop where it's Bird Brain's Youth of America, where the prominent line is, say a prayer for the youth of America, as they're driving into this party and it's now nighttime. You get the great shot from the Wheeze, which is just a great, like, Wes Craven freaky shot of them driving up with the song blasting out of the car. It's like, it actually is playing. It's not just on the soundtrack of the movie. And I love how the van, like, we've seen that Gale Weathers' cameraman is a rather portly man who likes to eat. She calls him a lard ass at one point. I like how the van pulls up and he, like, throws a food wrapper out the window. Like, you know, oh, it's that guy.
It's like a empty bag of chips. Like, you just ate a whole bag of chips, threw it out on the ground.
Yeah, man, it's great. And you get to this party.
Which is Stu's party, because we got a scene, I guess, earlier at school of him inviting the girls to the party. So we know it's at his parents' house, and I guess they're away. We're going to have the whole place to ourselves, and it's this huge party, and this is like the third act of the film. All takes place in this one nighttime setting. It's amazing. Apparently they had to film for like 40 days just for this shot, you know, to keep all the continuity and everything. It's pretty awesome.
I like that it's like almost half the film's runtime is this night. Like, it kind of reminds me of Jaws, how the final act is almost half the movie, which is them getting on the boat to go kill the shark.
Yeah.
Is this party. I mean, again, like, it's just so many quintessentially 90s things. I love that, like, they've got the VHS tapes and they're, like, voting on the movie, and they do watch Halloween. And of course you have them talking about Jamie Lee and how she's the Scream Queen, which you get the word Scream said a lot throughout the movie, where it's like, this movie's called that. And I love how Stu says something about how Jamie Lee has a great set of lungs, and then Tatum says, he means tits. And then in the next scene with her, and when she walks in the room, she's the tits of this movie. Like, it's very self-referential and pretty funny, which you don't need, like, total nudity in this, because it's the 90s, and we're supposed to be, like, deconstructing things, so it almost feels like if they put nudity in, it would be like a cheat. But you get Neve Campbell in a bra later, and you get, like, Rose McGowan's wearing a really tight shirt and seemingly no bra as she walks out and her boobs are in the forefront. So it's just some irony on her making that comment before.
It is interesting that there isn't any actual nudity, but it, like, plays with that too. Cause, like, later when Neve Campbell is taking off her bra, and it's cutting back and forth between them watching Halloween and, like, oh, here comes the money shot. And, like, you're about to see some boobs in Halloween. And then, like, it cuts to Neve taking off her bra, but then it cuts to all the guys on the couch like, oh, yeah! And so you don't see it, you know, you don't see anything there. But yeah, I never really thought about it, like, as far as this movie goes in all the different directions, and, like, also paying homage and poking fun at horror movies, you don't have any actual nudity.
Yeah, which is interesting. And I love, like, the cross-cutting that you just mentioned there, which I guess kind of obscures the nudity, but it's really well done. And you get a lot of the music cues in the background from Halloween, which are great. And I saw this before. I watched Halloween a couple years later, so I watched this before Halloween. And I remember hearing the music and being like, oh, I know this from watching Scream. It's great.
That's funny.
And then Stu tells I'm about to say Rose McGowan, but we've been saying Tatum. He tells her to go downstairs to get more beers, which is where you get the boob shot I just mentioned. And he sends her to her death. He sends her down there knowing she's going to be murdered. Possibly by Billy. I think it's Billy.
Could it be Billy or, we don't know.
Yeah, it's either Billy or Sue. Somebody kills her, but you get a big standout scene here where she goes down to get the beers, and it's like just Rose McGowan, like, and again in her iconic role of Tatum here, where the killer shows up and he's got the mask on, and she thinks it's Randy or someone and is poking fun at him and like using humor and being very feisty. And at first it's like kind of fun, but you get that escalation where he grabs her and she's like, what are you doing? And she drops the beers, and then the escalation where he pulls the knife and then like just cuts her arm just to scare her and to like show her like, I am the killer and I'm about to kill you.
Yeah. I like that. Oh, should I be scared? And then you have the killer like nodding his head, not saying anything. Like, oh no, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
Right.
Which is classic.
Yeah, her line readings are so great. And then she ends up having a little fight with him where, like you said, he kind of gets beat up a little. She uses her brains to open up the fridge door and hit him in the face. And you get this iconic scene. And I tell you what, Jordan, they don't make them how they used to. Because she goes into the garage. The garage has a doggy door. She crawls into it. Now, if you tried to raise the garage, it wouldn't lift an inch. They are so weak now, it would break immediately. But I fully believe that this wood oak paneled garage door from the 90s would lift her up in the air and drive her head into a spike, Jordan. I believe it.
Yeah, it's struggling at the same time, because I like the shots that cut away to like the little mechanism that's like kind of shaking and sparking or whatever as it tries to pull her up. But I don't know, even in the 90s, I was like, I don't know how possible that is. But that even, all like suspension of disbelief aside, it's a fun scene. I like the way she goes out here. It's definitely a standout, memorable moment.
Yeah, I like the detail that when they were making it, Rose McGowan was so tiny that she kept falling out of the door. So they had to basically nail her to the little doggy door frame so she wouldn't fall out.
So yeah, and I'm thinking, like, how are you going to fit through that doggy door with those boobs, girl?
Yeah, that's like, her boobs are too big for her body, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's why we love her. But I also like Chekhov's boat in the background, Jordan, where you see the boat clearly outside. That's going to come into play in a minute. And she's dead. No more Tatum. And people slowly trickle out of this party. I love, again, escalation is key to this movie, where people keep leaving, and then rather brilliantly, because I think that the scene where the principal gets killed solves numerous issues plot-wise, like as far as like driving things, and they needed a lot of people to leave the party. You see that like the dudes that got busted for wearing the mask in the school were Stu's friends. So that like gives him some motive there on what killing the principal because he expelled your friends, which is really messed up and evil. But I mean, like it's a motive or whatever. But that clears basically everyone out of the party. And then that's an escalation because it's like, oh crap, that safety net of there being people there, it didn't really protect Tatum, but she left the room. Yeah. She's gone. But Jordan, damn it, I skipped the most important part maybe of the entire movie where Randy pauses Halloween to give the rules.
Yeah. You don't know the rules? This is also tied into Gale Weathers infiltrating the party, slipping a camera on top of the TV or on top of the VCR or whatever, so they can monitor, for whatever reason, they're monitoring this random ass high school party during, all these killings. They just, I guess, think they're going to find news here because Sydney's here, I suppose. I love the little device that they use here that works for the movie of the 30-second delay. So they're watching the kind of footage from this camera that they've planted in the party. They're watching it in the news van that's parked outside, snooping on what's going on. And so you get Randy doing his rules thing. And so you kind of get that back and forth, the scene in the house and then watching it on the TV. In the news van, which I didn't even think about this, is like you're watching him on a TV explain the rules, the meta rules of a movie. So it's like even more meta.
Yeah, it's so awesome. And those rules being don't have sex, which they're like, oh, and he's like, don't drink or do drugs.
And then, they all raise their glasses. Yeah.
Right. Them being like 90s party kids. And then The third rule is don't ever leave a room and say, I'll be right back. And then, of course, Lillard, great line reading.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
Hey, Lillard.
And I love how he raises his arms and like walks backwards into the garage.
And then goes in the garage where Tatum is dead. That's like a tip off there. Wait, I mean, he's going down where her dead body is and is not making a big deal about it. So he's got to be one of the killers. But then everyone leaves. So it's like everyone's almost gone here. Only a few people could be the killer that are left.
Yeah.
Love the red herring with Dewey here where he basically gets Gail to get out of the van. He's like, hey, like Sydney's dad's car was spotted down the road and she goes with him. And they play this creepy music when he asks. And it's like, oh man, that was kind of ominous. Is he about to murder her?
Just the fact that like she goes, I guess, to get in his car and he's like, oh, well, I thought we might walk. And then there's just a little beat there where you're like, oh, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, oh, it could just be sweet. Like he wants to get to know her and like schmooze her and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they have this dumb conversation where he's like, do you know that constellation? Pointing up at the sky. And she's like, no, I don't. Which one is it? And he's like, oh, I don't know either. That's why I asked you.
But it feels like strangely natural. Like they would really have that conversation.
It feels like a real conversation. Yeah.
Speaking of, I love whenever Sydney agrees to go upstairs with Billy, who wasn't even supposed to come to the party. And he's like, you guys can talk or whatever.
Yeah. Talk, whatever. That line reading.
Randy is jealous of Billy because he is kind of in love with Sydney and he name drops Clueless here where he's like, okay, Alicia, you know, like Alicia Silverstone.
Well, yeah, because Lillard says as if, yeah. He's like, do you think I'd have a chance with Sydney or something? He's like, as if. That's all I'm going to say. As if. He's like, okay, Alicia.
Yeah, that's it.
As if.
Nailed it.
Which I don't think I ever put two and two together that he was talking about Clueless there until this reading.
Another pop culture reference in the movie.
Yeah.
And then you get another one whenever she goes upstairs with Billy, Sydney does, and he name drops Silence of the Lambs, which again, we just covered, but also he's, what a creep. What a creep.
What a creepy reference. Yeah.
Another one.
She's talking about her mom and how like she's got to get over it. And then I think he's like, yeah, it's just like Silence of the Lambs. You're always cutting back to the backstory of the dead father.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But also, like, why do you have to reference that? Just like I was watching The Exorcist and I thought of you. There was this guy we always made fun of because in high school, he said to this girl that I was friends with, I was in the shower and I thought of you. And he meant it innocuously, but we never let him live it down. And he didn't appreciate it. But it was funny to me. I thought it was funny. Anyway, yeah, he's a
That
creep.
reminds me of when I was in, you remember Final Exit, like the haunted house for Christians?
Yeah, I remember Final Exit.
I was in like the school shooting scene.
I was in that scene with you.
Were we in that together?
Yeah, I was the demon in the door so that no one remembers me because I didn't get to talk with or interact with anyone. I was stuck behind the door.
You're like a ghost face in this school shooting scene. But I remember there was like me and this girl, Bethany, and this other guy who was also like trying to hit on this girl and be real cool.
You and Bethany had some serious chemistry. I thought y'all were going to get together. I was eavesdropping from my door being a creep.
We ended up like talking a little bit and like, we didn't actually date, but anyway, we're getting way sidetracked. Anyway, I remember, I had something on and then I was like, oh yeah. And then I was talking about like, I was going to take it off real fast, but I said like, yeah, then I jacked it off. You remember this?
That.
And then this guy like
yes, I do.
made fun of me so bad. He's like, you would let me live that down. But like this innocent girl who was like homeschooled probably didn't even like understand what the joke was or the mishap was, you know?
Yeah, man. So I originally wasn't in that room. I was in the first room where I was like the main dude who's like making out with this chick. And then this other girl that's supposed to be my ex-girlfriend is like at the door. And for some reason she shoots herself. I don't know. And falls through the door all bloody. Eventually I was like, look, I'm not making out with this chick. Like, I don't know her. This is weird. Like, I don't know. I'm not comfortable like doing this over and over and over again. Which is kind of gay now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, the girl that shot herself was like really hot. Even with all the blood makeup on. Her name was Courtney. So, and I had some talks with her that I thought were pretty good. And my cousin Adrian, he came a few times. They didn't even really talk. They're just like, hey. So then I see her at a show watching some bands play like 3 months later, and me and Adrian are both there. And I'm like, hey, Courtney. And she's like, looks past me and is like, hey, Adrian. Because, all the girls like Adrian. I was like, you bitch.
And you
time for
bastard
Scream.
Adrian. Yeah.
It's time for Scream. Yeah.
Right. Where are we at in this movie?
I love your generous interpretation of that I meant, let's get back to the movie. Yes, let's get back to the movies. Yeah, so they have their love scene with all the cross-cutting like we talked about. It's time
for a Scream, like you were going to kill her.
No, Jordan! Damn it. That's only on a subconscious level.
You're never going to get that New York girl to call you now. Yeah. Anyway, we're way off track. Where are we at?
I was trying to get back to it, damn it.
You just jacked it off, Nick.
You jacked off the whole episode, Jordan, just like you always do. You jacked it off and now it's flaccid.
That's how we record, right?
And it's in a refractory period it may never arise from.
All right, so we're at the party.
I love the detail where Jamie Kennedy is playing Randy, right? And he's alone now. It's really creepy. Everyone's left and he's still just watching.
He's bummed out that everybody ran off. He's like, you're going to miss the good part.
Right. But then he's into the movie. People mention, how do you all watch this over and over again? But I mean, it's his favorite thing. He loves watching them, which I guess he's kind of like a stand-in here for the writer, which this is his favorite movie, Halloween. But I love the very, very meta detail. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes. Jamie, turn around, Jamie.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone mention that before. I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed that his literal name is Jamie, and he's watching Jamie Lee Curtis and yelling, Jamie, look out behind you.
As the Ghostface killer is right behind him. Yeah, it's amazing.
I love that the news guy is watching the tape up there and sitting up. Well, golly, man. So much is going on right now.
Did we skip the part where Sydney, so they have sex, and then she's talking to Billy afterward in this kind of weird moment of they just had sex, but now she's going to be like, you know what? It just occurred to me. Who did you call? And he's like, I called my dad. And he's like, no, I saw the sheriff call your dad. That doesn't make any sense. So you're kind of creeped out. And he's like, well, yeah, but when I called, I didn't get him on the phone. And you're like, okay. And he's like, what do I have to do to make you believe it's not me? And then at that moment, Stu, we know now, Stu dressed up as the killer, comes in and his back is toward Sydney and the camera and he's slashing at him and turns around. He's all bloody. So we're like, oh, Billy's not it. He's dead.
Yeah. I mean, that red herring of red herrings, right?
Yeah.
Could not have done it because he just got murdered.
Right. Which is amazing that he ends up being the killer.
Yes. And then you get the little chase scene there where Sydney is running from the killer and then she ends up getting to this window. And she fights and tussles with the killer and falls out, and Chekhov's boat comes into play, Jordan, because she lands on the covering of the boat to cushion her fall and runs away.
I love that she blocks the door with a surfboard as well.
Yeah, she's great at blocking doors. She's like an excellent cock blocker in this movie, Jordan, except for this one part with stupid Skeet.
Right.
Just wearing her down.
When he had sex, and now he has to die.
He
did. Got what he wanted.
Yeah. But she did too, so
yep.
Breaking the trope here, because she's gonna live. But she runs away, and then we cut to Jamie Kennedy and get to the awesome look out behind you, Jamie part, where they're watching him in the van. Sydney has gotten to the van, right? With the dude that likes to eat food all the time.
The cameraman? Kenny?
Yeah, and the cameraman's yelling. He's like, look behind you, look behind you. But then, as he opens the door and looks in the house, he sees that spot is empty. And he's like, oh, there's a 30-second delay. I just remember Rhett, when we watched it the first time, he said there's a 30-second delay along with the movie. And then started laughing, because the guy gets his throat slit because the killer is there.
Yeah. No, it's an amazing device that they use to make that happen, where it just ratchets up the tension, right? It's just so smart. It's just so fucking smart.
It's so smart. It's the Mensa of horror movies, Jordan. Then you get the scene in the car where Sydney gets chased to the car, right? And she's trying to lock all the doors, but the killer has the keys, of course, because it's freaking Stu and it's his house. She gets out of there. She gets into the house. And then you have Randy who, was he stabbed in the leg? He looks like he's holding his leg. You get her in the doorway as Jamie Kennedy, Randy, and Stu are both running at the door saying, like, it's him, he's the killer, which is awesome if you haven't seen the movie before. I mean, it's still great if you know what's going on, but it's like, wait, which one of them is it?
Right, which I guess could be an early tip-off that, like, there's two killers, because we saw the killer behind Jamie, so we kind of know it's not him, right, at that point.
Yeah. That is true.
If you're caught up in the moment, you're also kind of like, well, wait, which one is it? Like, well, it's kind of playing with your head too, and yeah, maybe tipping off the two killers thing, because you're like, wait, the killer was right behind him, and he's not dead?
Yeah, like, that's weird.
That's weird. It's just kind of weird that he's still alive.
Right. But if the killer's Stu, which it seems like he went downstairs and Tatum's dead body was there and he didn't react, the door gets shut because Sidney slams the door on both of them. Then you're like, well, wait, is it Stu? And is he about to just kill Randy when the door's shut? And when the door gets open, Randy's dead body's going to be there? I don't want that. I like Randy. I don't want Randy to die.
Well, there is a small detail earlier when all the people, like a lot of people are leaving the party and like Stu is outside, like hugging people goodbye. And someone's like, hey, where's Tatum? And he's like, oh, she probably got pissed and went home or ran off or something like that. Which, like, on one hand gives him kind of like an out for why didn't he react, like where is she at, maybe he didn't see her body, that kind of thing, like maybe the killer hid her body. But we see later she's still stuck in the garage door when Sidney finds her, but also too that like the way he says it, it just like, I don't believe him. Oh yeah, she probably got pissed and went home. But it's like she wouldn't have done that. Yeah, like she wouldn't have missed out on the party. Like that's a lame excuse.
And all of a sudden, Billy comes tumbling down the stairs, and he's like, oh, Sidney, I'm not dead yet. I lived. But this bastard's so evil, he faked his own death. He opens the door. Sidney's given him the gun that she has. He uses it as Randy and Stu are coming in the door to shoot poor Randy. Not kill Randy. He hits him in the shoulder. He just keeps getting distracted from killing all the other characters that he could kill at this point. Dewey and Gale get incapacitated outside the door.
Right. Like he's got a gun. He could really just like shoot everybody right now, take them all out and like get away with it. Right. But he's got to explain his master plan like villains do to Cindy.
And every time he's about to put some bullets in the people lying unconscious outside, something happens to distract him in movie fashion.
Right.
I was about to say, me personally, I would just hurry up and shoot them. That's just like my natural focus, but that's not a good thing to say on the podcast. After I've already said it's scream time.
I'm not a killer at all.
Yeah, like 10 minutes ago.
Prank calling people, telling them you're going to gut them like a fish.
That's right.
Copycat.
This has been a very incriminating episode for me.
I've stayed honest and true and innocent.
Now, the reason I say Jordan so much is it's my name. I am Jordan Courtney, so.
You're just going to try and steal my identity as we're talking.
That's right. Jordan did it. Dude, Skeet is so freaky, though, where he quotes Anthony Perkins in Psycho.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Yeah, like he's so evil when he says that.
In the stare, when he turns and he points the gun as he says that, and he's just so creepy. And then I love the little detail where he like scratches his head with the gun after he does that. He's like, Anthony Perkins, Psycho.
I saw an extra where he was being interviewed about the movie and like getting into the headspace for his character. And he's talking about like getting in touch with the darker parts of himself. And he says to purge them, but still, like when he said this, like, dude, you're creepy, bro. I'm sorry. You're not going to be in my movie.
Apparently, he also thought like the movie was going to be way more serious and more like a classic horror movie. So like when they showed up to film, he was like, wait a minute, why is everyone being funny? Like this is like supposed to be really serious and dark, right?
Right. I think that was on the fountain scene, which is like one of, I mean, they talk about like grotesque things, but one of the lighter moments in the film for sure. Yeah. So not the right scene to show up thinking everything's going to be really serious for sure.
Right.
And now it's just Sidney, and there were two revealed killers here. You got Stu and Billy. Jordan, I'm sorry that I said your name again. I'm going to try to stop it because it's not your name. It's my name. I'm Jordan Courtney, and I have never killed anyone, nor will I. But I think that this movie is brilliant in the way that it handles the motives, like you said, because Billy says this stuff about his mom, but really he's just a psycho. Like, the guy's a psycho. And I like how, unlike dumbass Marilyn Manson quotes from dumbass Michael Moore documentaries, I don't know if you ever saw that, where they're talking about Columbine and he's like, talking about how the kids were bullied and like, if someone would have just took some time to listen to them. But, you know, like, it comes out afterward. I don't know if you've read, like, the major book Columbine on it. Like, they weren't bullied. The main guy was just a sociopath, and the other kid was, like, a depressive guy that was, like, into his feelings. That was, like, his lapdog. And that's it. Like, that's the motive. That's why they did it. They weren't bullied or anything. One of them was just a sociopath who wanted to kill kids, and he got a hanger-on, and it's exactly like this movie. He got a lapdog, and I love whenever they're giving their motives, because he says this stuff like, your slut mom was having sex with my dad and that's why my mom left. Sure, but I mean, like, his reaction is obviously a sociopath reaction. I feel like if that had not happened, he still would have eventually killed people because he's a psycho. Which, to me, like, the timeless terror in this movie, even though, like, there's a lot of funny parts and all the deconstruction elements, the thing about this movie that is scary is, what if you are in high school and, like, your fellow classmate is a psycho killer? You know? Like, obviously, that's turned out to be true a lot of times, unfortunately. I feel like this movie presages it. Now, they have the line here about movies being an influence or whatever, and I like that Billy that says movies don't make psychos, they make psychos more creative, like some phrase like that, which I think he would have killed people anyway, because he's a psycho.
Right.
He's a sociopath.
Well, yeah, and I like that they get a little bit of both of it here, where, like, before he gives his motive, he's like, you want a motive? It's scarier without a motive, you know, or it's like, you know, you don't need a motive, it's incidental, kind of like what Randy was saying. But then he goes into it, but it's just like, what is really true here? And I think, that you get a little bit more truth in the fact that he's just a sociopath. Like, he would have done this anyway.
Right. It's a leader and a follower, which, good grief. Lillard's ad-lib lines are so great throughout this final
Mom
scene.
and Dad are going to be so mad at me.
He's so good.
And he's just spitting, like, spit's coming out of his mouth. It's so good.
Yeah, and then when he's like, now you died, those are the rules.
Now you die, those are the rules.
When he says,
the way he holds his gun and then does that thing with his hands when he when he says that.
I love that when he says it's a scream baby, which obviously is the name of the movie.
It's a scream baby.
He says it in a way where you don't groan like, oh, why they say the title of the movie like that.
Right.
Like he does such a good job. It's kind of awesome.
Houston, we have a problem. The gun, it was right here, man. I love how he turns into like Jim Brewer, like a stoner stand-up comedian, just like.
Yeah, I like that he's basically like, man, me and Billy were just ad-libbing everything and going so big. And in my head, I was thinking like, this is dumb. Why are we doing this? And Wes Craven is behind the camera like, yeah, there's rules. Keep it up.
Jerry Garcia, we could really use your help now, man.
Them stabbing each other, like, it's so sick and like horrible and kind of horrific, but like kind of funny too at the same time. Right. It's just so messed up.
I'm getting a little woozy here, man. You stabbed me too deep, Billy.
Yeah, there's like the gag there that, of course, Billy being so psycho, like he goes overboard when it's his turn to stab. So where like Stu is probably going to bleed out and die because they were going to stab each other and then pin all the murders on. Was it Sidney or Sidney's dad?
Sidney's dad, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the scream that Stu is referring to, right? He's like, oh, you're going to love this, Sid. It's a scream. And then they have the dad in the closet, pull him out, and he's all duct taped up and bloody and shit. And like, yeah, it's horrifying.
Yeah, it's crazy how Wes Craven like blends the comedy and the horror here where they're not apart anymore. And like, this is horrific, but it is also funny and fun at the same time.
Right.
Which I don't know if any movie has hit this tone like this one does.
Like later when Sidney gets away and Billy's going after him and he like throws the phone at Stu and he's like,
fucking hit me with the phone, Dick!
And it's real. Because he really hit him with the phone and he wasn't expecting it. Did you know that? That's awesome. No, he really, so he wasn't supposed to hit him with the phone, but his hands were all bloody, from the prop blood, or that it was corn syrup dyed red, which is what they actually used in the movie, but they name dropped that as the fake blood on him. And his hands were so slippery from that, when he went to hang the phone up, he accidentally threw it at Matthew Lillard's head and hit his head really hard. So, you fucking hit me with a phone, dick. That's ad-libbed. Like, because he really wasn't expecting that. And they just left it in the movie. Wes Craven was like, yeah, that was cool.
That was great. It was such a great part.
I love it. Yeah, and like you said, he's like, I think I'm dying here. And I like when the phone rings, too, that he's like, should I let the machine get it?
I love that she gets the voice box and the ghost face mask wherever they hid it, I guess.
Yeah, Sydney is hiding in the closet.
Like, she's hiding in the closet, playing the same trick on them. Like, they're looking for her. And I love the cross-cutting where, like, Billy's searching for her. And he looks over and he sees Halloween on TV where Jamie Lee is, like, hiding in the closet from Michael Myers, like, crashing in. And then at that moment, he's distracted. So Sydney pops out with like an umbrella and stabs him in the chest. And she's in the ghost face mask and everything. It's awesome.
And I like how right before that, she asks Stu what his motive is. And he says, peer pressure. I'm far too sensitive.
Mom and Dad are going to be so mad. Did you really call the cops? I did. You sorry sack of shit. Mom and Dad are gonna be so mad at me.
Yeah. And then at this point, like, Gail got taken out earlier because she came in with the gun after her van wrecked because, the dead fat camera guy was bleeding out up there, and she saw him and it messed her all up when she was trying to drive away, and she drove into a tree. But she comes back with the gun and she forgets to take the safety off.
Billy kicks her down the stairs and she gets knocked out.
Yeah, she hits her head on the column.
I love how he does the little neck crack, which is so creepy.
Yeah, it is a creepy neck crack, isn't it? Pretty freaky. Yeah, Sydney incapacitates Billy for a moment, and then Stu comes running at her, a big giant Matthew Lillard, and you get the... I love how she kills him with the TV, man.
Yes, it's so fucking cool. Because they, like, tumble around, like, they go back, I guess, to where Randy was watching TV. Or she smashes a vase on him, and then he's like down on the ground about to get up, but then she drops the TV on his head. And I just love the sound effects. He's like just electrocuted by this giant CRT.
Yeah, and it's very apt, right? Since this movie has been about so much pop culture and about TV and movies that she kills him with the TV.
Yeah.
And I love how he says, I always had a thing for you, Sid.
Always had a thing for you, Sid. Yeah, he gets real creepy there.
Yeah. And then she smashes his face and says, in your dreams. And then
in your dreams.
Billy is still alive and they roll around and fight. And then I don't remember where I read this. I didn't have this thought because it's gross, but she sticks her finger in the hole where he got stabbed earlier. Someone was, I don't remember. I wish I could quote who it was. They were like, it's like how he penetrated her during sex before, but in the reverse, now she's penetrating him and causing him pain.
Well, she penetrated him with the umbrella already.
Yeah, it already happened. That was the penetration. This is the double penetration.
Well, yeah, because it's like her being the killer in that moment, where she's dressed up and stabs him, and she's being the male in that situation, I suppose.
But he's way bigger than her, and he's a dude. So in the end, he gets the upper hand, and he's about to stab her. And then Gail comes in and shoots him. Got past the safety that time, basically. And then Sydney gets the gun. Like, Randy is okay. Randy's like, I don't have to die a virgin. So you find out Randy was the virgin in the movie. And he didn't, unlike Sydney, he did not lose his virginity. But then you get one last awesome meta moment where he mentions that the villain always comes back one last time.
Billy just pops up immediately, of course.
Yes.
She shoots him and she's like, not in my movie.
Yeah, Sydney shoots him in the head. And like, that would be a cheesy one-liner if not for the fact that everyone has been commenting before this that like, your life is a movie, Sid. Like, what genre? She's like, Tori Spelling would probably play me, like, as a derogatory comment toward Tori Spelling, which later gets played with in the later Scream movies.
Well, yeah, and in the sex scene where she's like, sometimes I think it's all like a movie, but it's actually real. And Billy's like, no, it is a movie. It's just one big movie. And then she's like, well, I wish it could be like a romantic comedy or maybe a good porno. And then that's where he's like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, you heard me. We're going to have sex now.
Yes. That pays off in her final line. But also, I like that it also plays into Billy's sociopathy there, where he just sees the life as a movie. Like, it's just a movie. That's all it is. It's not real.
Yeah.
Friggin' psycho.
Yeah.
Yes. So she shoots him in the head and he's dead. And the movie has like 10 more seconds left. Like, that immediacy just continues, where she helps her dad out of the closet.
Yeah, well, that's like the last jump scare, right? Is like he busts out of the closet, like it's a jump scare moment, and you're not, because you're just not expecting it. You've kind of forgotten about the dad. He kind of like crashes. He's not I don't know if he's in the closet because he was in the kitchen, but maybe he's just like crashes into the room where they're at.
Does he go hide in the closet like when everything is going down? Like, does Sydney hide him in the closet because he vanishes?
Maybe so. But either way, he pops out at the last minute, just like Randy talked about.
Great little jump scare there. Pops out in the last reel. And then you cut to Gail outside. You get a pretty cool fourth wall breaking. Dewey gets hauled to the ambulance because in test screenings of the movie, people were like, I like Dewey. So Wes Craven said, I guess I'll let him live then. Yeah,
because he got stabbed in the back when, as Sydney is coming up to the house, he comes out the front door. But then he's like, oh, Sydney. And then he falls down like you think he's dead.
But he lived. And you get a cool fourth wall breaking with Courtney Cox where she's talking to the camera. I guess she got a skinnier cameraman now, so she's happy. I'm not meaning to be a waitist here. I'm just joking.
A waitist?
She looks at the camera and she gives her little report. And then you get a great needle drop here. It's First Cool Hive by Moby, which is kind of crazy. His Everything Is Wrong album from 1995 is like the in-song soundtrack for so many great things. Like, I know you're not as high on the movie Heat as I am. That's one of my favorite all-time movies. And that ends with God moving over the face of the waters from this Moby album, Everything Is Wrong. There's an iconic episode of The Sopranos where Tony is in a coma that ends with When It's Cold, I'd Like to Die from Everything Is Wrong. And then you get First Cool Hive here, which is really cool, playing the movie out as it's over. But you get one last jump scare, Jordan, because the title comes on the screen and the killer in a loud slashing noise and his scream comes on the screen for just a split second.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention, speaking of being waitist, of Gale Weathers trying to drive the van away, but the blood keeps coming down the windshield, and she's like wiping the windshield wipers and the blood just keeps coming, and then Kenny, her fat cameraman, was stuffed on top of the van and she's driving away. She's like, Kenny, what does she say? Like, Kenny, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but move your fat ass.
Yeah, she's called him lard ass, fat ass. Poor Kenny. Kenny's
They
dead.
killed Kenny.
They killed Kenny. Those bastards. I love whenever Kenny just stared at a Cheeto earlier in the movie for a really long time.
Yes. Yeah.
That actor just did great in that part. Like, another person who's like forever going to be their Scream character. W. Earl Brown. I will always think of you as Kenny.
I'm just thinking of Scary Movie now where like they parody that of him eating and like falling around Gale, being a dumbass.
Speaking of comedies and W. Earl Brown, also, he was Warren. Have you seen my baseball? Warren 2 years later, and There's Something About Mary.
Have you seen my baseball?
Oh, nice.
He was in a lot of stuff. He kind of just like disappears into things.
I'm glad that we're ending the Scream episode talking about Kenny the cameraman.
He's in one of your favorite movies. He's one of the customers in Being John Malkovich.
Oh, is he? Wait, one of the customers?
JM Inc. customer.
Oh, okay.
You can go watch it again for me.
When they're in the office building selling tickets to the hole, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Jordan, that was Scream. That was W. Earl Brown's career, and that was Scream.
And that was Scream. What would you rate this movie, Nick?
This is easy, 10 out of 10 for me. This is like, I mean, we covered T2 last episode. That's obviously a 90s cornerstone. I don't like the voiceover in that movie. A lot of people don't care about that. You know, I love the rest of that movie. I love T2. I think it's awesome. I also love Scream, and I think it's a cornerstone. And there's not a voiceover in it, Jordan, so I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, this is a rare mashup where we just covered T2 and I gave a perfect score. I gave it a 10 out of 10 on your 10 scale, your inferior 10 scale. But yeah, I'll stick with my 5 scale here. I think I will go the same, though. I'll give this a 5 out of 5. I can't say almost anything bad about this film. I love it. It's crazy to me that it stands, like, as many times as I've rewatched it, and like quite a few years between rewatches, just going back to it, like, well, will it hold up now? Like, will it be as good? And it's always good. And I feel like doing this episode, I've just discovered even more about it that I love, and like it just gets better. So yeah, 5 out of 5. Love it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, I mean, you know how my memory is, but the way that the film is structured, there's so much depth in it. There are like little things where I'm like, wait, what happened? Like I've got to watch it again and see how that played out. But also, have we ever both given the movies we've covered the same score? Has that ever happened?
I don't know. Maybe a very observant listener can let us know if we have.
Yeah, because we definitely just gave both the movies we covered the same score. That's kind of wild.
Did you gave T2 a 10 out of 10?
No, I mean in this episode, Jordan.
Yeah.
You said a 4 out of 5 for Don't Be a Menace.
Right, and you said 8 out of 10.
I said 8 out of 10, and then we both gave this a perfect score.
Yeah.
That's
what did
crazy.
you give T2?
I gave it a 9 because
of the voiceover.
I really dislike the voiceover in that. It's like the most I love almost the entirety of a film versus one tiny element in it that I hate like a lot.
You know what, Nick?
What?
Just to kind of like go back and revamp the T2 episode, just one last comment on T2. I went back and watched T2 on VHS because as I said in the episode, I watched the special edition on streaming and I was just disappointed. I had to get back to the OG cut, the OG vibe, watching it on VHS. And it was just even more perfect watching it that way. It was so enjoyable. Just such a badass film. And it was such a great experience. Sitting down in my easy chair, watching it on the CRT. Fun times. Highly recommended. Go get yourself a VCR and a CRT, everybody. Watch T2. It's a quintessential VHS movie.
I'm so happy that you did that because as listeners will know, I was very disappointed that you watched like a 4K special edition version, knowing you like that was the antithesis of how you would enjoy that film. And you still gave it a 10.
Right.
I feel like it's like a 10 plus for you that way.
Yeah. It was good. Well, let's see. What's your movie connection to T2 and Scream?
I only had connections to T2 and Don't Be a Menace, the LA River thing. Do you have one from T2 to Scream?
I don't have one to T2, but I do have a movie connection to another Filmshake movie that we've covered.
What's that?
That would be connecting Scream to Mad Love, which also starred Drew Barrymore and Matthew Lillard. Well, not starred Matthew Lillard, because that was...
He's in like the first 30 minutes.
He's like in the... Yeah, I almost forgot he's in that movie, but yeah, they were both in that movie, which is a cool connection.
There you go, yeah, and that was another episode where like the punishment movie is not really a punishment. It was like, I want to knock out 2 Antonio Bird movies, so let's cover that. And Ravenous, which has David Arquette in it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There you go.
Weird. That's weird, bro.
And that's a horror movie, kind of horror movie-esque.
Whoa, that's like the mirror episode to this. That's weird.
That is weird. I'm glad I brought that up.
Gnarly.
And now I'm trying to remember who's the actor in Mad Love.
It's Robin from Batman. What
is Robin's name?
Christopher. What's his name? That guy that looks like a beige towel. Chris O'Donnell. That's it.
That's all right. I was going to say Jerry O'Connell, but I was like, wait, it's not Jerry O'Connell. It's Chris O'Donnell.
Obviously, I have some deep-seated jealousy against Chris O'Donnell. It's Scream time, Chris O'Donnell.
Scream time.
I'm Jordan.
My name's Jordan. I'm a psycho killer.
And on that note, can I psycho kill Jordan at trivia? Wait a minute. I'm supposed to... You're supposed to say it's time for the trivia battle. I screwed that up.
I was going to say, we're talking about Matthew Lillard being this lapdog, this kind of pansy. And I've been working on writing just some more like lighthearted, stupid like punk songs, and I wrote a song called Psycho Pansy, which is just like Psycho Pansy, Psycho Pansy. That's like the whole song. I feel like that goes well for Chris and for Matthew.
Definitely Jordan Courtney wrote the song Psycho Pansy. Not Nick. Nick didn't do it.
Not me, not Nick Loop. We weren't ready for all that, but are you ready for the trivia battle?
Pop quiz, asshole.
Hey, there we go. Astute listeners will notice we didn't play the stinger yet until you did that. So now we can really get down and do this. But did you write questions? I got to ask you right off the bat.
No.
Nah, you son of a bitch. All right.
You son of a bitch. It's just tradition now for the last 50 episodes.
You know what, though? You did the stupid Arnie phone thing last time, so.
You don't want that again. I'm just saving you from something even worse.
I don't want that again. Well, Jordan, my thought was, Liev Schreiber's only in the original Scream for a surprisingly small amount of time. He's just on the TV at Tatum's house, like in the kitchen on that little CRT, which CRTs are so great, Jordan. All 90s movies should be watched on CRTs. It's just somehow better than watching it on a big TV in 4K. I don't know why.
And having the news on a little tiny CRT in your kitchen is just a very 90s thing.
Right.
As well.
And having a movie where the news is on in the kitchen on our tiny CRT on your tiny CRT is even better.
That's right.
But all my questions, I wanted to give him more screen time. So all my questions are about Liev Schreiber. Let's see if you can get 4 out of 5.
All right.
I have faith. All right. Here we go. And it is your pick next time. So if I don't like your punishment movie and you don't get 4 out of 5, I'm not watching it.
I'm sorry. You're going to have to watch both movies and we'll get into why.
Oh, no. Okay. Here we go. All right. In which X-Men film did Liev Schreiber portray Sabretooth? Was it A, X3? B, X-Men Origins Wolverine? C, X-Men Days of Future Past? Or D, X-Men Sabretooth?
Was it Origins?
It is. God, that movie sucks.
It sucks so bad.
That was like one of the most disappointing experiences I had in the theater because X3 sucked and I was like, all right, time to get back on track. And that did not happen.
Nah,
Jeez.
It's all downhill from there. Well, actually, Days of Future Past was all right. But anyway.
Yeah, it's not bad. All right. In which Jack Ryan film does Schreiber appear? Is it A, The Hunt for Red October? B, The Sum of All Fears? C, Without Remorse? Or D, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit?
Was he in The Hunt for Red October?
No, he was in The Sum of All Fears.
Damn it, which we talked about.
Yeah, I thought that was a gimme.
That's what I was going to go with, but then I second guessed it. Oh, well.
4 out of 5 in doubt now for Jordan Courtney.
Hey, but that's you. So if I lose this, Jordan Courtney loses this, that actually means you lose this. So that means you have to watch the punishment film.
Yeah, but you go down for the crimes. So who really wins there?
I win either way.
I looked up that Courtney girl years afterward and I couldn't find her. I hope no one psycho killed her in real life.
Probably that guy who was making fun of me for saying I jacked it off.
Right.
He turned out to be the villain.
Oh, man.
The cool, popular guy.
Dude, there was so many dramatic storylines around, like, all the kids in that final exit. Like, hey, let's put a bunch of people between the ages of 15 to 25 in this haunted house situation and, like, raise the drama degree to the highest level and, like, make them think, like, this is the most important thing they're going to do in their life and just see what happens. I really thought you and Bethany had a thing, man. I was pulling for y'all.
We did have a thing for a little bit there. We talked, and I don't know if we ever, like, actually got together or like met up after that, but we talked on the phone a good bit that summer, I think.
Was it the homeschool thing? Not to diss our homeschool listeners, but did that like kind of weird you out a little or mess things up?
No, because I ended up dating a homeschool girl later in my career, so that didn't bother me.
Were you once married to a homeschool girl, or did she go to a real school?
One, yeah, almost. Well, I don't know. That was only 3 months of. Anyway, trivia battle. Let's not get into Nick's deep past here.
Oh yeah, Nick's past. You date way more women than me, Nick, Jordan. I don't even know who I am anymore. I've gotten lost in the sauce, lost in the murder sauce.
What's your next question?
Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich taking a bath in corn syrup dyed red. Jordan, I don't know what's going on anymore. My parents are going to be pissed.
Are you Skeet or are you Stu? Yeah.
I don't even know. Stumacher's a weird name. It's like Stumacher, and someone split it in...
Like
in
Brubacher.
Half. Yeah, like Brubacher's.
Anyway, what's your question?
Schreiber debuted in this 1994 Steve Martin vehicle. A. Mixed Nuts. B. Sergeant Bilko. C. The Three Amigos Ride Again. Or D. Father of the Bride 2. Don't cheat.
Sergeant Bilko?
Incorrect. It was in that awful, god-awful Mixed Nuts.
Oh,
Not
no.
a good movie. Nor Ephron. What were you thinking? That was a bad one. Well,
Okay.
4 out of 5 is out of the question. Let's see if you can at least get the majority correct. Let's go for 3 now. In 1996, Schreiber co-starred with Mel Gibson in A. Lethal Weapon 4, B. The Man Without a Face, C. What Women Want, or D. Ransom.
Ransom?
Correct!
All right.
He was, yep. He was a bad guy in that.
Nice.
All right, Jordan. For 3 out of 5, I believe in you. In which Scream film does Schreiber not appear? Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, or Mace Me? No, I'm just kidding. Mace Me's not a choice. Scream 2, 3, 4. Because he's not in Mace Me. And that's not a Scream movie.
Okay.
Seek that out, though. Great film.
2, 3, 4. 4?
Correct, Jordan. You did it. You got 3 out of 5 right. A 60 out of 100, the bare minimum. So proud of you. Or Nick, whoever the hell you are and I am at this point.
Well, does that mean I've won? Is that the end of your questions?
You either won or I won. I don't even know.
Don't even know.
That means I get to pick the next movies again. Yes.
Well, if you being Jordan means you pick the next movies, then I'll tell you what Jordan has picked. I'll tell you what you have picked for the next film.
All right. What have I picked?
All right. So this is going to call back long ago to our good friend Doug of the Good Times, Great Movies podcast. I remember, since they cover all 80s movies, they wanted us to cover the sequel of one of these movies, which is a 90s movie. The original is an 80s movie. So as a little cheat here, I'm going to have the original movie as my punishment film. And therefore you have to watch that because the sequel, this 1991 film, is going to be the main film. So you got to watch both Mannequin and Mannequin 2 on the Move.
This is some classic Filmshake bullshit. We covered 2 of the biggest films of the 90s, and friggin' Mannequin 2 is the next movie. And I already have my choice for After Mannequin 2, which is even wilder. So sorry, listeners, we have let you down, new listeners. And I don't care, because that's Filmshake. I love it.
If you're not familiar with Mannequin, you've got Andrew McCarthy, who's like a down-and-out artist who creates a department store mannequin that comes to life and that he falls in love with, and they have wacky hijinks with bad guys in the department store. But Mannequin 2 takes it to a different level, or a different genre almost. And you've got Christy Swanson in a movie directed by Stuart Raffel, who I'm really excited about because that's my boy who directed Mac and Me and Tammy and the T-Rex.
Son of a bitch.
He stepped into this sequel that sounds like it has nothing to do with the original.
Oh, it doesn't.
This mannequin that is like really a woman from like the medieval ages that's been cursed, and she has like a necklace, and there's a sorcerer. There's all sorts of shit going on. I don't even know. I'm excited to watch these on VHS. So let's get into it next time. Mannequin and Mannequin 2.
My dad and I did this double header at some point in the late 90s or early 2000s. It was the late 90s. And the first film we enjoyed. And then we said, oh, wow, Mannequin 2's coming on next. Let's watch that. And it wasn't good, Jordan. It was bad. But hey, that was a long time ago. Maybe it's better now. Maybe everything is better.
I'm not quite so sure it will be, but I think it'll be fun to watch and talk about either way.
That's funny. I just listened to the most recent Good Times, Great Movies episode, which was on Dead Calm, and they kept talking about how that film's more like a 90s movie because it's from 89, and I was like, damn it, I wish it was a 90s movie because it's got Billy Zane, who we love. That would be so much fun to cover, but we can't because it's 89.
You know what just came in the mail today?
Dead Calm VHS?
Yes, and the Don't Be a Menace VHS. So that's crazy synergy. And I was just thinking when I got it, I was like, damn it, I wish this was a 90s movie. We could cover it, but maybe one day I'll pick another Billy Zane movie and I'll use Dead Calm as the punishment.
Maybe so.
I'll cheat again.
Well, that's Filmshake. Everyone who's just jumped on this train, we've been telling you, we don't always pick big movies. We sometimes pick small ones. And Jordan's got a weird pick coming up. Man, I can't wait for you to hear my pick after Mannequin 2. So
I'm excited.
We're going on our usual wild and wacky 90s ride that no one can predict, not even us. We don't even know which one of us this is at this point. So
right. All right. Should you say the thing and then I say the last line and be you?
Yes. Thanks for listening, everyone. That is our episode. If you want to check us out, just Google Filmshake. You can hit all our social medias. Nick does update the X account, aka Twitter, fairly frequently, so we're on there. The Facebook account, sometimes that gets updated, sometimes it doesn't. We've got an email address that's filmshakepodcast@gmail.com. And thank you, as always, for listening.
No, you screwed it up.
Damn it!
What's the thing you're supposed to say?
We'll catch you next time for more Filmshake.
Take it easy.
I'm a killer. It was me. I did it. I killed them all.
That's my impersonation of Nick the Killer.
Was that the end of the episode?
I guess. Take it easy.
Snot, because my cat was in here before I threw him out. And he sheds. One more
snot.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great sound.
Yeah.
You need to edit that into the episode.
Maybe so. Snot 3. The worst of the snots.
All right, here we go.